Are we back? Somebody please. Somebody please, please, please let me know if we're back. Sorry about that. I don't know what to do. 5G don't work. LTE don't work. Wi-Fi don't work. But yet, don't worry, we sent a man to the moon. So you guys, we'll see who's first. Who's gonna be first? Who's gonna be first? Tanner's in the house. What's up, Mr. Tanner? Hope you're doing good, man. Got any big old jobs working on? Service, all that great stuff. Rusty was just sitting in the back. He was just, he was picking a booger. That's all, man. He would have had you. He would have had you. Just had to scratch the nose. What's going on with this computer too? Just wanted to see the god darn stinking thing. How do these guys use this thing? Maybe it's the internet too. We'll see. Hopefully the Wi-Fi stays connected. Hopefully. So, but anywho. Priming the pump. There you go. So Rusty, do you guys ever kind of schedule? You just kind of free for all it for your schedule? Do you like just whatever is scheduled? Or am I kind of crazy with the whole idea of like you kind of keep Monday a little bit open, and then you Friday. What is this? I don't want this. All your devices. I don't care about this. Just like let me into stinking Google. Don't sign on. Sure, whatever. Skip. Just give me the internet. Whatever. Okay, whatever. Got it. Great, whatever. Just use the Wi-Fi. Hopefully we're not lagging so bad this time. You're back. I'm back. We dropped the ball now. Don't forget, please. Button. Just helps wake up the algo. Might even wake up Papa Tony. You never know. He might be hard to sleep. He's got a big day tomorrow, probably. Got a big day. Maybe got some Invicta doors. I had a feeling like when I was dealing with those doors, I went, these would probably be very similar to an Invicta door. I know he'd say different. I know. I got the spring turner. He's got the Surewinder, but just saying, it was a nice door. It was a nice door. Let's see what's on here. Nothing. I don't know if I need to pull it up. I think we're good now with the Wi-Fi, even though I'd like to travel outside, but I'm sure it'll mess everything up. So we won't do that tonight. Tanner's got kind of steady here. Got a bunch of quotes out there just waiting for builders to get their butts in gears. Oh man. It's weird because I feel like, I kind of want to I was thinking about it today, right? And I was like, I don't know, and I'm just kind of speaking from the top of the brain, from the heart, just kind of shooting her from the hip, But anyways, I was thinking about it today, and I don't deal with a lot of the in and outs of every day, right? And I was thinking about it because I had my old dentist reach out to me, and it's like I don't know if anybody can relate with this, but like I'm probably the only one that has a real messed up mind that I think about these weird things. Like, so my dentist reached out to me. Great dude, by the way. Nothing. This is absolutely. It's nothing personal, right? It's just business, right? You think about business stuff. Great dude. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, years ago, I was really trying to get him to change out his doors. He has some old, crappy, I think they're the Wayne Mark. I see we got 2 likes too. Thanks for hitting the like button. Maybe we can get 3, maybe. Wayne Mark, right? But then he insulated them, right? So they just look, the foam, just like, the styrofoam cup on the backside. And I changed out the spring one time, and I think the springs weren't the best. It was kind of back in that like very beginner stage where it was like you kind of did it and you're like, I don't have nothing else that's going to work, because it's I think it's an 18 by 8, so it was kind of an odd size for then. And so, anyways, now he's thinking about replacing the doors, and I'm just like, "Are you? Are you? Are you really gonna do it this time, buddy? And why are you reaching? Like this is, I don't know, it's probably been 8+ now. Might even be about 10. And I thought, well, and so this is good. This is good. Stay tuned. So here's the thing, right? We end up going out there, and I'm thinking, did he already get prices from other people? Like, was like, since the whole cough syndrome and stuff, like, is he just like, holy crap? Like, these people want ridiculous amounts of money for this. Because mind you, too, by the way, now he's got the floor done, he's got painted, it's got it looking really. And so I got the dimensions and all that, right? And then it dawned on me, like today, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I don't know if you guys ever experienced this, but I'm like, fudge. I'm like, I gotta put a quote together. God darn it. And I was just like, oh, like, and I already tried to ask for pictures, didn't get them. I already tried. I was like, if you want, I was like, you could just send me some pictures and dimensions, and I like give you, like, pre-qualify you. And he was just like, nah, I'd just rather have you come out. I'm like, luckily it's not far away, so no big deal, right? So I didn't push it. Plus, hey, we're swinging towards that residential a little bit. 5 Mile Famous, like, all right, you know what I mean? Like, sure, let's just kind of look at it, right? Good dude, love him. I really do. He's a good dude. And so I'm like, so anyways, we're out there, and I'm looking at him, and in the corner of my eye, I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, what kind of opener is that? It's like green and like roundish, almost kind of. It's like square but round corners, and I'm just kind of like, what is that? Anyways, he mentions to me. He goes, yeah. He goes, I want these doors replaced, and I want both these openers. These openers really aren't worth a darn. And I'm like, oh. He goes, I installed them, and I'm like, oh. I'm like, what? I was like, what are these? And he's like, they're. I think is it Mastercraft? Is that what Menard sells? I'm like, oh. And so in the shed, though, he's got nice old school, like the 2008 era, 2010, 2012 era, like just simple LiftMaster, chain driven, full photo eyes, nice wall console, just the standard full running LiftMasters back in the day, right? So those ones, yeah, I don't doubt things just run. If they ever break, it's going to be a gear kit, and I'm going to throw a gear kit, and away you go again. So, but anyways, we're leaving, and he lives in a they're $1 million houses on this block. You know what I mean? All of whatever. I don't want us to get too technical, but they're really nice places. Right? So Kayla was mentioning, he's like, this is the place I would be advertising, and I said, hold on a second there, buddy. Hold my beer. I gotta have a conversation with you. And I said, here's the thing. I said, you think that. I said, I'm not saying that you won't. You know what I mean? I said, here's the thing. I said, I've been in the neighborhood. And I said, right down here, I took them right past it. I said, I did a job for a family member's friend, something, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, I want to get too technical on it. And I said, the reason so they're going to get obviously like service out of me if there's any kind of whatever, this and that. And it wasn't like I made bank, It wasn't like, oh my gosh, this was life changing, And I think as a young man, it's really easy to get roped into that, right? You just sit here and go, oh my, and I said, here's the kicker, dude. Here's the kicker. I said, this guy, right, runs, business, whatever. I said, beautiful house. I said, he installed his own garage door openers. And I said, he bought cheapest ones. Think about it. So it's just one of those things that I did the same thing, right? I used to work for people either on the lake or certain, and you're just like, if I job for them, I'll just be so successful. I'll be a millionaire overnight. Well, not necessarily. You know what I mean? Sometimes they can actually be more problematic, than, I even asked my painter one time, right? We were at the rental, and I asked the lady, I said, who do you have the most problems with? I said, who do you have the best experience with? And she says, typically people run businesses, and she says business owners, middle, medium, she's like, look yourself. Oh, good, thanks. I like to think I'm pretty flexible and easy to work with. But she understood. She was a younger girl too. She understood that sometimes even the high end are just, they're really picky. They got super crazy stairwells and stuff for painting. So you just, I don't know. I just wanted to tell a little story. I see PT's in there somewhere. What's up, PT? Hope you're doing quotes. No, Jay, schedule my day as full as possible, then squeeze service in. Squeeze the service in. What's up? What's up? What's up, Tony? How you know I was ready to hit the hay? You know, we got the tracker, that smartphone. Da-da-da-da. Next, we'll get you the life alert. Right? Is that what they used to call it? Is that what they used to call it? Was that commercial that was always kind of the thing, right? I've fallen and I can't get up. Just doing some shopping orders, 16th Impact nut drivers, and some other miscellaneous odds for the new kid. Oh yeah. He wants to barter. Oh, he wants to barter work. Is that for the dentist? The Mattercraft. Yeah, I just couldn't believe it. You know, like he was kind of like, I don't know if I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's just hit the lotto, what's going on, but he was mentioning, that I've seen said that the floor's been done within 2 weeks. The walls look great, and then you got these really gnarly old garage doors, and I'm thinking, like, dude, like 8 years ago, I was trying to. You need to replace these, and he just didn't do it. But then like I said, when I seen the openers, I was like I thought this is a time to talk to Caleb about this, where it's like, just because and I told him, I said, what's kind of weird, right? How people judge. And it's not right. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, right? But I remember I had don't forget too, if you guys would hit the like button, because it just helps wake up the elbow, bring people in, you know what I mean? But anywho, I remember the guy, I think it was right next door. So we used to do these things. Where is it? Do I still got them? Is it still here? Where are you? Hopefully it didn't get thrown away. So it's actually this guy right here, right? And this just goes to show you, just sometimes, just thinking, this was our ad right back here. I think I've mentioned this before. This guy no longer do it, but this eye care place used to be huge. It always had the front page. Always drove me nuts. Always have a pretty guy or girl on here, right? The boat sailing. Oh, yeah. Here it is. Actually, it's the family coupons, right? Anyways, he lived next door. Like I said, another, 2-point-something, $1 million house, right? Anywho, I was dealing with this person that owned it at the time. I think it went through 2 different owners. And I remember I got behind, like I owed them money, right? I signed up for something, and then either I sent a check, it didn't make it, or whatever. I was just irritated with it. So I just said, hey, I'll just bring it to you. And the guy said, okay, fine. He goes, here's my address. I didn't have no clue in the old GPS, the old Garmin, right? We didn't have the Google or the smartphones. So I drove over, right? And I go to this dude's place, right? 4-stall garage, brick house, 3-story, whatever, mansion of a place. And I was like, I'm not saying this is right, but I said, the hell with this. I said, I'm not paying I'm giving this guy no more. I mean, this guy's doing pretty dang good. Now, good for him. No, now that I'm older, right? Good for him. But I just remember he made this coupon thing. And I just was like, I'm in the wrong business. You know what I mean? Like, this dude's just getting money, and I wasn't getting a lot of super hit once in a while. They always sneak them up on you, right? You go there, tell them a service call or something, and then they'd say at the very end, where's my free can of lube? And you're like, you need a free can of lube? Crap, you didn't tell me that on the phone. I would have brought another can, like that one good can I had on the truck for the day or something. So you do like a free can of lube or something, or whatever. We had a free garage door. I think this was a purchase of any new garage door. What do we have up here at the time? Back then we had the Linear, right? Wayne Dalton Linear. Liftmaster. But anywho, what the point is, one of those sometimes, just because you got sometimes fanciness can get people turned off. I was turned off. I ended up not doing business with anymore because I was like, this guy makes way too much. Looking now, hey, good for him, right? Yeah, I know I shouldn't have been that way. Ooh, it says hi. The more the money, the more the problems. That's what I was trying to. I don't know what it is. You know, I don't know if it's kind of like that whole thing trade, like in the world, the economy. You know, let's just. I don't know if like TV brainwashes us on it or social media. You know, where it's like, oh, because they drive the fancy car, all this kind of stuff. You know, because like I said, as soon as I heard Mr. Kale talk, man, I would advertise. You know, and I'm like, I'm not saying you shouldn't. But for one, I said, if you do, your sign's probably going to get yanked. I said, because this is like a HOA or whatever this is. I said, so it's probably not allowed. Well, I would check, you know, blah, blah. And even if you went down the road, right, it's like in my mind, I go, you're going to find somebody that's going to probably use you and abuse you. Now, I'm not saying always, right? But it just seems like sometimes you get to that upper tier. It's kind of like they like stand there, right? They stand there with that, like, you know who I am, right? And you're like, yes, sir, I do. And they're like, you want to make me happy, right? Because I know so many other people that I'm going to give you so much more work, but you're going to work for pennies, right? Because that's what we want. We want a good deal. We want great service at a good deal, really cheap, right? Great service. So, and you're like this, right? That's why I got the sign. You're like, what? Good, cheap, so good service cheap won't be fast. Good service fast won't be cheap. What? Well, this is like I wanted to carry. I'd carry this around. At a point, I was so burned out. I would literally I wanted to bring this to a customer and be like, "Oh, hi. So, Oh, what would you say? Which one? Which one would you like? You only pick one. Which one? Which one's it gonna be? Fast service cheap, won't good. Like this is it, man. This is it. That's why I always keep it up here because it was like we get people come in and it's like, well, I can go to Menards and get it $100 cheaper. Yep, you can. Good times, flashbacks. Down, Tony guy says, oh, that's why you couldn't get picks. He says they got the money, not spending any of their time to help you. Ooh, that's a good one, Kevin. You know, because kind of weird. Now that you mention that, this is good. I ended up, actually, I got two of them. Probably got two of them. Thank you. I see we got 4 likes too. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. And so we couldn't make it work. And I was kind of like, I was just busy. And plus I was hoping with a little bit more time, maybe it'd be like, here's a couple pictures for you. Maybe it's 2, right? Because that upper class, you know, kind of one of those things, right? I could see that happening. I'm not going to be responsible for this. If I send a picture and you price it or I measure it wrong or, you know what I mean? Like, you know, that's on you. No, you came out. Nope, that was you. Oh, you measured it. Why'd you bring a 16 when you needed an 18, right? So, but I it went into like almost 2 weeks later, just because then the next week was just, it was slammed. I was like, whatever. And I was anticipating, honestly, getting back to him and he'd say, I got somebody else. You know, I'm good. But anyways, that one week I had an opening on a Friday. And I said, hey, you know, and he says, he was going north or something. He said, let's try early the next week. And that's what it was. Early week, I'm things were going on. It just didn't happen. So I said, hey, how land? I said, you know, I gave him like a 3-day, you know, I said, you could do this, or do this. And of course, right, he rebuttals with like well, if we do this, it's going to be, I only got evening which is totally fine. I mean, right, you got to schedule, you're busy. So then we meet up, but I noticed when I was there, right, it's like, well, how long is this going to be? Because in 20 minutes, I'm planning on like, and it could be legit. It could be just like, I want to get you the hell out of here. Like, just get your crap, get her done. And just like, I don't want to, like, you can't just sit here on my porch all night and drink my beer and, watch the bonfire or something. I don't know. So at that point, I had another one that always reaches through the back door on it. That, this one was a little odd though. They had somebody that bumped into their keypad built into a brick wall, but there's like a stainless steel thing. And he asked if I could fix that. And so I said, well, I'm thinking like the block is all blown out bad. And I couldn't remember if the block is like cemented in or glued. So I said, hey, I said, could you send me some pictures and I'll let you know. So I don't know, like 8 days go by or something like that. 10, I don't remember exactly. Hey, we got 16 too. If we got 16 people, like I said, don't forget to hit the like button if you would, please. Even if you're just cruising through, it costs nothing. It's free, and I really appreciate it. So, excuse me. So finally, whatever, like 2 weeks later, I get the, and I'm like, okay, I see the picture come through, and then, but the problem is with this particular customer, there is always a agenda with it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always like the one time it's like, oh, hey, it's the beginning of the year and it's for a gate operator. Really need to get this running. This is what's going on. 4th of July is coming and it's like, okay, so why is this my like emergency? You know what I mean? And I tell you guys to exercise these things for the winter time. I always just tell them to leave them on. Just leave them on. Do not turn them off, but they always shut the breaker off to them. And every year, they always punch the code in that locks the gate open like a plow guy. It'll keep the gates locked open. And when the time comes in, it's always, the gate won't shut. And I'm always like, so I made a video. There's a video out there of it. There's this time I caught myself. I said, hey, what's the keypad show? Oh, it shows green. Green, you think was good, but that's not good. That means access. Need to be red. That means they'll close eventually. So, but then there was the one time we need to get these working. It turns into my son is my son is a musician or a almost like a country singer, and but doesn't say a name or anything. But my son is really popular, so we're having problems, right? The last one that was kind of in was we're having packages stolen, so we need to get this run. You know, man? Do you know where I'm getting with this? Like it's always like when we need it, we need to put a little extra sauce on it, and I'm like, and I don't fall for it. I'm just like, okay, like we'll get there and put you on the schedule like as soon as we can, you know what I mean? So then it was this time even for 2 weeks, right? I said, could you send me pictures? Yeah, sure, no problem. 2 weeks go by. Then it turns into, oh, hey, I finally got you these pictures. I'm sorry. We had to go to California. Son had something, it could be total legit. Could be, but it's just like when you hear so many times crying wolf, you're just kind of like, and I don't know what to do. I don't really know what to say. I don't try to make long conversation. So I'm just like, okay, not a problem. I'll, take a look at it. When I can, and it's like, I just need a price and stuff. And I'm thinking, I don't even know if I'm going to give you a price right now. I told you I need pictures just to see if it's something we could even do. So like, don't bank on that, you know what I mean? So it's just like customers can be kind of sometimes love our customers. That's why. That was a good one, Kevin. That was good. What does it say? Fan, it says, if you weren't in this industry, what would you try and get into? Well, I do the real estate stuff, and I tell you what, as long as I've been in this, I have a lot of business owners, and I mean a lot of guys that have gotten into real estate. One had an oil change place, got out of it. One had a huge restaurant business around here, multiple locations, real estate. I think real estate is there's definitely a tier, right? And I know they got their problems too, but like the real estate agent, landlord, wholesaling, like there's just such a bigger number, and they're like, it's one of those things that like nobody has found a thing to replace it yet, right? But it's so weird when you're in this industry. This is how my mind works. It's like you're always chasing. You're like a dog, ruff, ruff. and you're always just chasing, right? You know, I can fix that door for you. I'm your guy. No, I'm the best, and I'm the best ever gonna be. Okay, you know, like you're not gonna die one day. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, and I used to have that, right? You know, like now I have the mindset. I go, there is plenty to go around. You know what I mean? There's plenty. It's just who provides good service. You got to provide good service. You got to answer the phone. You got to be kind. You got to be able to solve people's problems. That's all you're doing. To me, I still look at it. I try to tell some of the young people and stuff like that. Like I would look at, it'd be real estate, or I'd be always looking at something that's semi-passive. And sometimes I talked about like things you can set up that are making money while you sleep, right? I'm sure you guys have heard it. I've heard it, but like a vending machine is what comes to my mind. You know what I mean? Because I go, that's something that you build, you set up. There's shift, there's second shift, maybe there's a third shift. It's at a whatever it is. And I'm sure they got their own problems too, right? But there's just something different about real estate. Real estate is like, it's almost like the people run this country, but they're not the people that we see, if that makes sense. It's like stuff that's just behind the scenes that works, and it's a cash cow, in my opinion. Does it have problems? Yes, everything does. You know, like not real estate, but investing. Investing's good too, you know what I mean? But, you know, obviously stuff can go to zero, companies can go bankrupt. But as far as my grandpappy's been around, and as far as your grandpappy's been around, nobody's ever seen real estate go to zero. It just doesn't. And over the years of 18 plus, and I've never come across anybody that's ever told me when they bought a piece of property, Dave, you know, when I bought this property, you know what? This was the worst investment. No, what do they always do? You know how much I paid for this? How much you pay for it? In 1960, you know, I paid $10,000. Really? You know how much is now? No, I don't. It's worth $350. Wow. You know what I mean? It's like that whole weird system. So to me is like the bigger, like I was one of the guys from Shark Tank, and he says, I wish I would have dreamed bigger, you know? And so real estate's really, I think it's a great play. It's a great move. But like I said, most of us have to make active income. You know, I was one of them. The roofers do, the garage door guys do, the framers do, the excavating guys. So it's not bad. It's kind of like, I agree with, is it the Mike Rowe, right? You know, there's just there is a good thing about trades. There's a lot of great things in trades. But it's just, I wish I would have known now what I know, and I would have invested even heavier into real estate. Because of just, there's so many, I don't know how, like I said, that's why I was thinking about you guys while I was mentioning that, like when I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, I'm like, dang it. I'm like washing a vehicle, right? And I'm like, fudge. I'm like, I gotta put that quote together. You know what I mean? And I'm like, crap. You know what I mean? And it's not so hard. It's great now that you got Jobber and stuff like that, but it's just like, you got to spend the time. And then, you know, it's like you drove out there, you got to spend the time, you got to put together, you got to call, you got to check up on it, you got to send an email, you know, then they say, okay, then you got to get the material, you got to bring the material there, you got to hope the material's not damaged. There's a lot that goes into it. And you're going to do a great job because you're a great craftsman, you're a great installer. And even if you do the best you can, you don't know behind the scenes that the manufacturer kind of duped you with bad, you know, packaging or dents or whatever, or at the lift master or the genie, they changed something without telling you. You didn't get the memo. You know, they changed something with the sensors or photo eyes, and now you have an issue. And even if you do a great job, it still might not be your fault, but you're going to have. And then you also have something that's typically probably never going to provide for you again. That's one. I had a guy, it never dawned on me, that was in the garage door business. And he did way more years than I did. And he told me, he says, you know, one thing that really sucks about the garage door business, Dave? And I said, and he goes, you never get rewarded for doing a good job. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, think about it. He says, you go out and do a good job. He goes, you know, he's like, I don't know how to set a spring up so it's going to break in 5 years. I'm not going to do a bad install because it's going to just cost me. I got to go back out in the next 2 days or 3 days. He's like, you do a good job. He says, you'll never go back. He says, you go maybe in 10, 15, 20 years. So that's why some of you guys too, maybe need to consider doing a preventative maintenance. You know, maybe as some kind of package or something. There's ways to do it. There is ways to do it. I know it is. It's just a matter of now, but it's a lot of work. Sometimes you're dealing with little money. That's like garage door openers. Like, was it Rich? Who sent it to me? We sent the video. Me and Papa Tony seen it. And the goddamn garage door openers haven't changed in price since 1980. It's like, what? It's like, I mean, there's still, I mean, I just went in and whatever. I think Lowe's has a sale again right now. It's for like $199 for a garage door opener, 2 remotes. And I'm just like, how do they do it? How do they do it for $200? You're crushing me. You're killing me. You know what I mean? Because we'll get people that are like, how much do you want? You want 8? You want $1,200? I mean, the store right down the, I mean, come on now. It's kind of like, it's like a lighter around here, right? A Bic lighter will still set the house on fire. It'll do the same as a Zippo lighter. You know what I mean? It'll set the house on fire. So a garage door opener right here is kind of like this. It's like, I don't know. It's like a pop can. It reminds me of like a pop can opener. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like a beer bottle opener. You know, some guys use their teeth. I don't know, bottle opener. You know, some people use their knife. Some people use a quarter. Some people use the side of a table. It does the same job, right? Takes the cap off your beer and gets the fizz. You get the bubbles and you drink it. You know, I don't know. I just ran. Sorry. What's the damn? Probably underwater basket weaving. Oh my gosh. Oh no. I hope it's not cutting off my vocals. Higher end customers require more in-person estimates. True. Could be true. Could be true. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's kind of, I don't know. I don't know because it's like, I see it through other businesses. Like one's my brother-in-law. He's had a guy and he ended up doing everything, giving him samples, everything, does his floor, right? And the guy's like, you know, I don't think that matches the sample. Basically wants him, I mean, big floor too, right? Regrind the whole garage. And he's like, it ain't gonna happen. And he's like, you know, I told you that I'm gonna be doing a lot more, right? Doing that whole carrot trick. And he's just like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I gave you the sample, you signed off. It is. And a lot of people do that too, right? They always do that whole bait and switch where they do the whole, like, you know, if you give me a good deal on this one, I'll give you probably 5 more jobs. You know, I got a lot of friends or something. You can't fall for that. The more money customers have, the better the experience. I can present them all options and let them choose. Oops, what did I hit here? Oh, darn it, I hit it again. Tanner. What deep sea Tanner? Oh man. Customers don't care about you. They just next guy. Ooh. I know, and that's why I'm kind of like, it's kind of throwing me a little bit, right? There was a couple things that happened through the business, right? A little bit with the dentist and stuff. And like I said, just put it there. Hey, I see we got 9 likes. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. The dentist guy is a super duper great dude. He's such a great guy, But when it comes to business, right? There's business. You know how it is. You know how it is, right? There's business and then there's personal. Nothing personal. But my dad ended up leaving him because at some point they were checking for your they were checking your blood pressure. My dad has a little bit high, nothing extreme, a little bit high blood pressure. And basically, if you had high blood pressure, they didn't want to work on you. You know, they got that was never a thing they used to do. It just kind of started happening. My dad got kind of turned off with it, said, I'll find somebody else, I'm out. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And so I forget where, if I was going or something. I stayed on, or right? It was always funny. I had a really nice, sweet lady. They had, like I said, great customer service, great people. The lady would always ask me, because my, sometimes if you want your health to diminish really fast, try running a business. And so I'd go in there and she'd be like, oh my gosh, like your blood pressure is extremely, like, you'd always like throw something. I don't know if she was like trying to help me out, but she'd be like, she's like, "Do you drink like a Mountain Dew or did you drink a Red Bull?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I did too. Shoot, maybe 3. Yeah. Oh, I did like 6 yesterday though. You know what I mean?" And she'd be like, "Oh, okay, well that explains it." And we just would carry on, right? I just kind of whatever. And I don't know. I mean, for one, I'm in a weird, like, I'm just in a weird situation. I'm sitting there like, getting stuff done, and I'm just like, gotta go, gotta get this customer, gotta get customer. And so I was fine. Wife, kids went there. It was great, right? Everything get paid for. Wife would try and take care of it. One girl. And so anyways, the cough syndrome started coming around. And they were doing something with, I think, certain gases. But then I think what was over the top is it was something to do, supposedly, and I don't know if it was just a miscommunication or what happened, right? Would not let her back with her own child. My wife Tron, right? She wasn't having that. She was like, no, like my kid. I mean, my kid was probably at the time, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, and she's like, that's not gonna happen. Like, you're not going back there doing this and certain things and gases and everything. Just no. The mama bear, right? Mama bear. She was like, we're done. We're out. So I'm like, okay. So we ended up finding one that loud whatever for her to be back there when the whole cough syndrome was going on. They've been a great place too. They've done a wonderful job. But it just kind of goes. So like I said, that was, could be 8-10 years ago. I have a hard time believing that within 8-10 years ago, you haven't met nobody in your realm besides me, and I'm nothing great. You know what I mean? So I just have that weird sneaky suspicion that it's like I could be there because I'm shell shocked because I might have priced it 8 or 10 years ago, and y'all know that 8 years ago prices of garage doors were way cheaper than they are now. I don't know if it's a whole like shell shock or the fact too that he's gone Menards, and so he's probably looked at some, and it's not a very, it's just a colored door with no windows, insulated to a couple non-insulated on a I want to call it, it's not a shed. It's a darn garage. It's a nice garage, but that's what he calls it. So I don't know. So Rusty, he said, have to make your company experts in the area so they call someone else will get less quality. Maybe so. Maybe so. I mean, how it is. I think, we, with Rusty, we're always, so like, I was thinking about that the other day, right? And I was thinking, I just don't know how much merit that can have to some degree, because I think about buying a car, right? And I'm saying let's just say we're using a Toyota Camry, right? They're across the board, right? I can go to this dealership, I can go to this dealership. I mean, me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I hear it across the internet all the time. I know my mom's done it. I know many family members on it. I know my wife has done it. Like, you can price shop the car dealerships. And so what changes to some degree, right? Because most of the time you're gonna find whoever has the best price, right? It's like the dealerships has got to kind of do what they're supposed to do to some degree to take care of the car, right? It's really under Toyota or whoever. They might, drag their feet because there's nobody, if you watch the car industry, right? There's nobody that takes care of the customer, it seems like. And I never hear anybody that says, let's say like the Toyota Tundras that are having engine problems, right? They never get another Toyota Tundra to drive as a rental. It's always like a car, and that's not the same equivalent. So I guess what my point is that, to some degree, it's kind of, at least in our generic area, it's kind of like what I'm talking about, like with the Bic lighter. You know what I mean? Like, there's only so much you can do with a garage door, right? I mean, basically, the garage door goes up and it goes down. That's what it does. And there's nothing to, like, I mean, there is install and stuff like that, right? And maybe a warranty, but like, it's kind of like, I don't know, sometimes it reminds me of like plastic forks. You know what I mean? Like, I've never shopped around for plastic forks. I just use one, and then if it breaks, I just like throw and get another one. You know, like I've never seen anybody at a party be like, I'm not using this plastic fork. This one cheap. I don't know. I just, you know, maybe for a wedding or something I've seen stuff. So I don't know. I'm just making fun here. Window shoppers. Your guests slowly, gradual prowess are the fire hose. Yeah, I mean, Rusty's got kind of point there. I mean, that's why I kind of, it's either, there's kind of like the whole, it's either, you know, active, you know, there's kind of your active, you know, that you're making, that normally you got to make, you know, I normally got to work a job, you know, eight to whatever, 8 to 5. You know, we all have to, you know, like I said, I still do it too. You know what I mean? I do active, you know what I mean? But I have the passive, and it's weird because once you do the passive, it's like you almost like don't want to go back because you're sitting there and it's like, wow, it's amazing. Like the only way I ever can describe it is like, I gotta shut this window so I can see outside. It drives me, I can't see outside. Especially when I got that TV yet. I think I got one like freeze set. That's dark out there anyways. I'll go if the Wi-Fi doesn't. Just to get some of this wonderful cool air we got right now for a little bit. See what's going on out. Oh, that's right. I was going to blow this off. 2 cops. As soon as I walk out, sheriff's driving by. So anywho, we didn't lose the Wi-Fi, right? No, we're good. So the insurance companies, right? That's the thing. The insurance companies, like, you go in there, right? You sign up for your car insurance. You sign up for your house insurance. And that's like, you know, boom, there you go. Every month, boom, the check comes in. Boom, the check comes in. Unless you call somewhere else, and they all do the same game, right? You call somewhere else, you're cheaper because they creeped yours up. But it's amazing because at least behind the scenes, you're making pennies upon pennies, and pennies roll into dollars and roll into $100 bills and thousands. You know what I mean? So it's kind of nice. That's the reason. Like, once you learn that concept, it's hard looking back. Slow and steady is the race. That's right. Rich has got a good point there too, because that's why I'm always trying to tell, like, a lot of guys that are getting into business, you know, honestly, I would go slow. You know what I mean? Don't see, like, for me, I screwed up to some degree. I mean, it worked out, but I went so fast. I killed myself, man. I just killed myself. You know, like I said, you know, 14, 17-hour days, heat exhaustion, almost falling off ladders to your death. You know what I mean? Because you're dehydrated so bad. That's not fun. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Be smart about it. Take that money, slowly build up what you need. Be smart. Have the time to actually think versus just impulse doing everything. That's what I was doing. I was just impulse and everything. I was like, oh my gosh, we need another truck. You know, oh my gosh, we need to do this. Oh my gosh, we got to buy scissors. Oh my gosh, we got to buy another trailer. Because, like, we're just, you know, and next thing you know, you're just like, your life will pass you. You know, you'll be like, holy crap, like, what do I do? Like, I don't have no time to do anything, you know, and I'm so stressed out, and I'm at a job, and I'm, you know, or you're at home, you can't even have at home time. It can get very cumbersome. At least in the fairy tales. What's he got in here? Kevin's got. It's nice and fresh air. What you got? Openers at the big box store. Like the rotisserie chicken at the supermarket. Take a loss on it to get you in the store. Ooh, I like that. That's good. Hey, I said we got 11 likes. Thank you guys for 11 likes. That's great. No, you're probably right. What do they call it? A lost leader? Right? People have those lost leaders to bring customers in. So you're probably right. Makes sense. But it just never helps. Like the box stores, at least in our generic area, have always, like, screwed us. Like, I mean, I just had it the other day. I didn't know, do you put it on? Do you not put it on? We had a customer on the road. And so it's commercial, Genie, 12-foot, the bigger commercial opener trolley. And the guy's like, what's it come with for remotes? I'm like, why do they ask? I'm like, my commercial doesn't come with any remotes. I'm like, I did put it as an add-on. was like, it's in here somewhere. Oh, right here, you know, 40, 50 bucks. Oh, okay. So, well, we'd probably at least need 4 of those, you know. But it's crazy to me over the years how many residential people I've gone to, and it's always been conditioned in the brain, you know, because it's like they've seen it at the box store. 1 keypad, 2 remotes. 1 keypad, 2 remotes. If it's not the keypad, the always or the opener comes with 2 remotes. Now, you know, one of those things, God bless America, that like normally if they did the box on the package, right? Because I typically sometimes I buy the cheaper one, right? When I do their box store install, and I'd hand them their remote, I hand them the manual or whatever, you know, when I say, here's your, you know, I present your stuff to you. And they look at me and they go, why is it only got 1 remote? And I'm like, well, that's all it comes with. I thought it came with 2. And now I'm like, look, let me grab the box. Grab the box. Hold the box up. No, ma'am or sir. Right here. Picture. See? Photo eyes, remote, 1 keypad. That's all. That's all, folks. And so, you know, then they're like, oh, but, you know, I've done so many residential, like always the ATS was always a weird one. You're always in between like that barn, commercial building, you know, like a 10-footer ATS. It come with remotes, right? So you install it, you know, you get done and they're like, where's the remote? You're like, it doesn't come with remotes, you know, like that set it in it doesn't come with, and then of course you're like screwed if you don't have them stocked on your truck. So you like, for me, I was always like Universal, you know, on my truck for my own place. So I'd always be like pulling Universal, another one off, you know, to give to them because I either didn't bring an extra one on my truck. Those stinking remotes. Does your company install? Where do you guys get them from? LiftMaster. Buy them directly from LiftMaster. The LiftMaster Club. 7-foot installed. Hey, Evan's made it to the house. What's up? Thinking about Mr. Evan. I was just thinking, I was like, Mr. Evan got any jobs that popped up? Has he got any broken springs or anything going on in the world? 7-foot, 325 for the opener. Is that the cost? Okay, yeah, I see it. It says Rich. That's no. I was like 325. I was like, that seems a little bit on the cheap side too. This thing's got a leak somewhere. Drippy drip. As a matter of fact, yes, broken spring today. Dang, dude, you like capture it, take the phone call, grab it by I don't want to say, but by the spring and took it on. How did you fix the spring today? Or just measure it? Come on down. I wonder if what'd you do? Did you clamp it? You're gonna order a new one? You're gonna get it from the old Amazon? I just seen a big truck the other day at Amazon, and I was like, that looks like the big enough truck to haul garage doors. I was like, it's just gonna be time. Garage door delivered by Amazon. We'll see. It's like weird. Holy smokes, Evan, you had a set of the 225s? Dang, dude, ka-ching. Were you able to do one shot? Were you able to go there, one shot, one service call? Or did you have to make 2? How far away? Got to beat you up a little bit. How far away? Be honest now. I know, Evan's good. He's a good dude. We just had one. Oh, Rich, I forgot to tell you. So with the round door, nothing like being 5 Mile famous. We loaded up the door, and I grabbed. We ordered one 12-inch radius, another door of 15, and for the brown door we needed 15 because we had a man door and there, a service door that the track was just going above to clear. And we got the track all up, and as soon as I went to the horizontal, I just looked in my eye and I went, oh my gosh. I said, we got them. Caleb's like, what? I said, this is 12-inch radius. I said, that ain't gonna work, dude. I guarantee it. So I'm holding it. I said, open that door. Boom, hits. I'm like, even if you jack it up, all that kind of stuff. And all I kept thinking about, is honestly, I was thinking about you guys. That's all I kept thinking. I was like, right here, right here. I was like, right here. I think this is why you want to be close to the shop. Because, I love Caleb. He's always got great insight. But he's like, can't you just go to the store and get this? I'm like, no, you can't. The store just get this. I'm like, you'll have to buy a complete door. I was like, good luck finding somebody and it'll match up and everything. I was like, we're just gonna go back to the shop. And the shop we're only 2 miles down the road. So, and there's even construction, right? That's out of my control. So you had to take some back roads, which takes an extra couple minutes. I just kept going, oh, thank you. And I went, this was just a total like, oops. It was just an oops, man. Even the seasoned vet was there. And the problem is when we unloaded the truck, I had literally seen it and I went, it's going to be a problem. I thought I should change them right now. And I got distracted. Something happened. And then we just loaded everything up. And I kept thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we just got to just run 2 miles down the road. Boom. We got 15-inch radius. Everything was good. I didn't know for sure if the verticals were going to change, so I brung those, but they were the same. So it's great. One service call was in town, about 10 drive. Not bad, man. Cheers to that. What was it? Oh, it's how? 9x8 that was cut down from what? Oh my goodness, it's gonna do a 9x8, huh? It was cut down from a 16x8. Whoa, that sounds pretty interesting. Come on, man, send me some pictures. I gotta see that. Rusty. Tariff was $288. Wow, before the tariffs, huh? Wow. I don't know what do you guys feel about with these tariffs? I feel like they're kind of a scam. You know what I mean? Because I'm so confused. You know what I mean? It's like, we're doing it, but now we're not doing it. We're doing it in 90 days, 30 days, or 60 days, or whatever it is. And it's like, I keep seeing or hearing, right here's a perfect example. I'm like, prices went up, but then it's been paused. So prices should come back down, right? Come on now. Let's all be adults. We know how this is really going to work. The prices never go back down. Never. Even my gas prices aren't down that much. I'm at what? We're at like 324 roughly. It's 314. Because it was 314 for one and 316 for another. And I was like, what's going on with this? Rusty, not sure. No, how do you like the rail gauge? Rail gauge, huh? On those tracks. You mean like I don't know, they were really nice. Unless I'm missing something what we're talking about, but the track, everything was real nice. Struts nice and beefy. The door, that brown was a really rich chocolate. I mean, it looked like I could chew on it like a Hershey bar. They felt very solid, very nice product. I mean, there wasn't really much I could say, about them. I was impressed. I mean, I was just like so happy I didn't have to mess with the bottom seal. 2 struts, awesome, great. Definitely feels like Kevin down there has installed doors, or he's ran a business long enough that he understands what the working man has to deal with. I mean, not just these corporate salesmen. You know what I mean? I'm so over the corporate. I know Cap was just saying something about it. Like, I think Safeway was talking about, like, they were trying to, they're going to try a route for us to get our shipping down. And it's like, I don't know. I guess they had some other kind of problem too. And I just so some of you guys that are either starting out there, whatever. Some of you guys already know this, right? Typically your rep or your salesperson, they just absolutely lie through their teeth. I'm not gonna say everyone. but everyone I've come across has. But they will promise you the world, promise you just, they have zero callbacks. They have great products. We're getting that changed right now. That's in the works. We've been talking about it. And it's just one of those really, really, really easy to do. It's just the proof in the pudding, right? That's all it is. Good or not so good. You know what I'm saying? That's all. That's all, folks. Really that simple. And I just get so sick of I just cannot believe when you're missing parts, product comes in and it's damaged. Now I understand stuff happens once in a while. I get it, right? But when it's damaged all the time, kind of like, where's that one place called the A and the Mar, something like that. Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Amar used to do that too with us. Used to only give us one strut. That was annoying as a small garage door company. You got so many plates you're trying to spin to worry about ordering another extra strut on top of something that's coming through Lowe's. So I got to the point, when we're installing Lowe's doors, I was like, whatever. That they don't give it to us. We have to pay extra. Sorry, customer. Customer, if you'd actually probably put a second strut on here, the door would probably last another 8-10 years longer. But you went through Lowe's, you got what you paid for. The strut's going to go on top for the opener, but it's going to have a sag to it over time. It's going to fail, but there you go. I can do. When we get some in, I'd bring them, but it just, we'd run out because it was just, trying to keep up. You know what I mean? Having a secretary order them, you order them. Evan says, had a job yesterday. Bottom roller was popped out. Outside seal that needed adjustment as well. Ooh, header bracket ripped out off the wall. The 3265, those were good openers. I miss those. Evan, I'm curious too, how you don't forget, try to ask these people. Are they finding you through Google? Or are they finding you through what means? I'm just curious. Same neighborhood as the job today. What is this? Rusty says, I have a guy. Eric, what's up, Eric? Another drip. Where's that drip come from? It's Eric. I've barely noticed. Evan said, okay, so he's got, I've noticed tariffs yet. They've been rattling around the around here. Stuff has been increasing. Nothing I'd say that's gone bonkers, but it's just I don't know. Evan, prices, prices, everything up there though is so weird for price. Eric says, I hate the tariffs. They are not helping anyone because besides the big shots. Yeah, I mean, that's, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, what is going on? Are we going or are we not going? And no, I just don't think you can. I just don't think we're going to win that battle, right? Because stuff is just so much cheaper, and you just cannot, like, when you think about it in a nutshell, right? Think about, like, could you imagine, like, I'm I'm a business owner, right? And I couldn't even imagine building in America with all the regulations, all the restrictions, all the EPA, and then to deal with all the higher construction, right? Because when you build the place, you got to hire all those really expensive contractors, and then you got to have the employees, which are super high, and they got to be, if they do union or whatever they do, the money is just so astronomical. And the thing is, you only got basically 3 years. I know it's 4, but 3 basically, because what lame duck, you only got 3 years. And what if somebody flips the switch and says, nah, we're not doing this no more. And so you just built a $1 billion factory. What do you, like, how do you do that? You know what I mean? Like, how does that change? Russ says, I'm loading my truck and heading for the border. He's going to be selling them on the black market. or like when Biden was still president, super high. Everyone raising prices, using terror as a reason, whether they are actually affected by or no. Man, Kevin nailed that one right on the head. That's what I've been hearing, like with the cars. I keep hearing these car guys talk about they're using that as a sales tactic, right? You better come in before the tariffs take effect and the car price go up, or you know what I mean? Like I feel like I feel like it's like a taste of like the co and the vid. That's what I feel like it's a taste of. Like they need to find something to. It's like they're really like I said, I cannot find that video yet. I've been looking and searching to find somebody out there, but there's got to be something out there that somebody's talking about the reason they must stimulate, right? Because maybe it's just to make the corporate people rich, because their stuff is all controlled. Like when you think about like in our business, right? Like we have so many variables, right? Like, I mean, you like to say, well, I made it and I got this much money, right? But then there's like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 different trips in there that you didn't account for, right? And you're not going to go back and bid the customer not going to accept it, or the contractor. So you just eat it, right? There's so many things in there. And it's not like a business in a sense where you're like a factory, right? You can kind of see stuff working, and I know they got problems too and waste, but it's a little more controlled. Where we have a lot of variables. We got to go out there, we pitch ourselves, we got to try to get the sale. Sometimes we get them, sometimes we don't get them. Sometimes that's wasted time. Sometimes that's just part of business, what people say. There's just a lot of stuff that was in there, but there's just something about the whole, like, maybe it's the dogs that are making the money. You know what I mean? The GE, the AT&T, the BlackRock, because, we have that we're a consumer-based society, right? We're not much of a producer anymore. Like we consume, man, a lot when you think about it. And it's like, I don't know if they do this to rattle the cage, to be like, this will get people. Cause like when you think about it, like one of them, I ain't gonna lie, I was one of them, right? When the co and the vid, the 1.9 was happening, I mean, I remember we found out it was easier just to order the toilet paper because you can get it in the stores. Just order it like line. And I remember they dropped it off like in the package, like not in a box, So it's like you go home and you're like, what the package is just sitting out like where everybody can, like you're just thinking of like people coming up and like grabbing it and stealing it. Like, who does that? And hey, we bought some stuff, you bought some supplies, right? You think about how much you consumed in a short period of time, and then there was stuff that went to waste. There was stuff rotten. There was stuff that just didn't get used. There's stuff that was taking up space. So you're like, you know what? I'm just not, whatever. You get rid of it. Maybe keep it. Maybe get a bigger house. Weird to think about. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of money that flows when this stuff happens. And so I just wonder why, it's got to feed something. It's getting fed. It's not me. My kids get fed, but it's not me. Well, but I get fed too once in a while. I'm a good boy. I get a biscuit. Rusty. Yes, I'm not sure why springs are so high. Eric says maybe the tariffs are a political stunt like TikTok. Ooh, the TikTok. Could be. It seemed like when we started our their tariffs, so we buy local. I don't know. It's just so weird. Like it's kind of funny. Like I really love Evan. Evan reminds me of Caleb to some degree because they're about roughly the same age or so. You know what I mean? But they're young bucks. Young bucks. I love the young bucks. And it's weird because I sit there and I have to tell myself. I go, it's easy to sit here and kind of go, holy crap, Canada's got, these higher prices and stuff, which they do. It's like I look at that and I go, oh my gosh, there's no way in hell I would stay in Canada. I would definitely come down to the States. Things are way more cheaper, way more free. But then I also tell myself, I go, you think that way, But there's got to be even another country that's even better yet, or better. Like, you know what I mean? Like you go down that. It's kind of like it reminds me of like driving the Forders, right? Oh my gosh, gas was at $4.25 or whatever it was. So we had to buy these Ford Rangers. We bought the Ford Rangers. Save gas, save gas, save gas. And then it's like gas prices came down. It's amazing, even myself included. It's easy to go, wow, yeah, gas ain't that bad. That gas is like, it's $1.50. It's $2.50. It was $4. That's not that bad. Now I can drive me a big old pickup truck. And it's amazing when like this happened a few years later. I kept thinking to myself, I went, why did you think like that? I mean, like that's stupid, right? Because you think about, you could still be driving Ford Rangers and you could still be saving gas, even if it's at 250. It's still better gas mileage. And for us, it was obviously a little bit different reasons. We were growing, we were doing commercial. It's hard to switch. I had an extra vehicle almost sitting for a guy. So one day he's driving a Ford Ranger, then another day he's driving a bigger pickup truck, or we have or they have to take mine. So it didn't really work out that good. But then I learned about the whole traveling, right? Because when we were doing the Ford Rangers, we were traveling a lot. Well, that was the problem. You're traveling, the wear and tear, the gas. So there's just so many different layers. It's just weird to think about how much better it seems like than Canada. But also, it's funny when you think about it, when there's other countries out there, which I don't know, you guys know, they think about it, you go, if you had the money that you have here, you'd live in there like a king or a queen, because it's just worth so much more. I've heard of one of my distant uncles, he was telling me about it a lot. I forget which country, but makes you wonder. Through the Google? Nice. The old Google. Google's got their claws in up there too, huh? I mean, I know you were using it, but old Google. Maybe yard sign. It's them to leave it for a few days and you will stop back and get it. It's true. Or does build excitement, you know what I mean? And even some, I see guys like the roofers. The roofers will put yard signs, and I'm always like rubbernecking. I'm like, and it's like, that roof don't look very good. And I'm like, well, they must be coming, you know what I mean? Or maybe they did a repair or something, but it gets my attention. So, I mean, like, even if you just did a spring job. Any drippies? I'm going to do some more operator down videos soon. I just pulled a Craftsman 2000 scrap pile. Screwdriver. Ooh. Rusty that I'm going to rebuild. Nice. Yeah, what was that? A Chamberlain? I think I came across my one of our last grandpas on the wife's side, Wifertron. He's got an old screwdriver. Is it a Chamberlain or a Liftmaster? I think it's a Chamberlain. But he was like, you think I should get rid of that old thing? He's like, it's pretty noisy. It's kind of like, I like kind of laughed. I was like, I don't know. Like, I was like, I don't think so. I was like, if it still works, just use it, man. Like, it's working great. Like, it still works. Just use it until it dies. I mean, part of me was just like, if that thing comes down, it, like, you don't see many of those. And I'm like, that's mine. But I was like, no, like, leave it. Just leave it. It runs. Evans garage door repairs. Ooh, the signal on a cloudy day. That'd be pretty cool. Let's see. Tanner, get a billboard at some point. I've been busy with jobs, trying to navigate the process of getting my business and tax ID number. Yeah, it gets interesting. That's for sure. It's a lot of hustle. A lot of hustle. Business, that's what business is, though. I mean, you got to really hustle and grind. To be quite honest, Evan, you're doing the right thing. I mean, you got to do it. Youth, if you got youth, that's on your side, man. I'm telling you, that's a good time to do it, especially, no kids in the picture. That helps out a lot. Yeah, there's just so much you can do as a young man. I've been telling Mr. Caleb that there's so much more freedom and so many more things you can do. And you don't need much. That's the best. As a man, you don't need much. You can survive on ramen noodles, but you start getting everything else, and that stuff will, and I think that's what I try to explain in the videos sometimes, that stuff will slow you down. You know what I mean? I don't know how to say it, because I don't want to discourage it. It's like, it's one of those things, you start getting a house. Well, guess what? You get a house, you're going to start cutting the grass. And guess what? When you start cutting the grass, you don't get paid for it. And then when you fix the driveway, you don't get paid for it. You fix the windows, you don't get paid for it. Unless you're going to turn into an investment, and you buy a really ran down one. But then, it's not fun. I've been there. It's not fun sometimes to deal with construction all the time in your house, and you're fixing a room or you're living in a room. I mean, it can be done. I've done it. And I think if I was to do it again, I'd honestly probably get a camper. I just get a camper. I stay in the camper while I'm working in the house. So at least when I go in my camper, that sanctuary, my nice carpet, my nice everything clean, my little shower hookup or something or whatever. I don't know. Car dealers are the best example of high prices. My local Chevy dealer still has a lot of 24 and 25 and old 25 models. Yeah, they're those cars, man. Ooh, Charles got something on here, which he say something. I forgot about saying the billboards. Overpriced from the return a lot of the time. Focus on Google. Instead. Yeah, I'd probably agree. The billboards, you got to remember. See, like, the one thing that's like with garage doors is, how do I explain it? Like, I was always going to do a billboard too, but it was like for around here, I think at the time, this is quite a few years ago, it was around $4,300. And they were going to move us around like 8 times within like a month or something. But like what I've always, it's sometimes they say what people got to see it 3 times you make a purchase. What I've always noticed with the garage door business typically is garage doors aren't like remodeling a kitchen, aren't like buying a new fancy car. They're kind of just it's like a gas cap. It's just a necessity. It's there. It does a job. It keeps my gasoline in. But if I lose my gasoline cap and then my engine light comes on, oh crap, there's a problem. I need a new gas cap immediately, or I got to find one. I'm going to find the cheapest one. Or I want OEM. So a lot of times I have found, like, I would agree, the Google, like you have to be there as the person they think about when there was that problem, right? Because they're not going to try around a billboard to try to find that number that they thought about, and I'm not saying it doesn't hurt. You got money to burn, but there's definitely a lot of people searching the internet. You know what I mean? That's just, or they know a friend and a friend recommends you, or I think a sticker sometimes on a door, because maybe they go out, hey, I just had a guy, maybe he could help you out. Let me go look. Oh, here's his number. I'll take a picture of it. There's things like that. So yeah, the billboards you really do have to watch. I never ended up doing it. I would think honestly you'd probably have better luck with a radio ad, to be honest. That's just my rough opinion, but if anybody, got opinion on it, throw opinion in. Love to hear it. How do you feel a class price increase recently? Ooh, man, it went up, what, 3x? Dang. Charles, are you a Clopay? I don't know anything about I don't deal with enough glass doors to know what the price went up. Doesn't surprise me. My new one was in effect. We couldn't get tough used tissue and napkins. Sucked. I'm glad that is over. Oh, isn't that crazy? That stuff was so crazy, man. It's like that's gonna be the years of known of like the poopy generation or something. Like we're just gonna be mocked. I just couldn't believe. I think it's just like one of those things where it was just it just goes to show you. I think it's a great example. It just goes to show you how much is controlled by the media, right? Like they always say, who controls the media controls the masses. And all they have to do is put one little spark out there and it just goes like a wildfire. You know what I mean? Oh my God, we better go to the store because of this. And then like when you see it, right, that panic sets in, and like, oh my gosh, it's not here. I better go to the next store. I still remember my portage, you know, when that stuff was going on, I was working at a job site. I was on the other end of the building. So they had a porta john down there because it was such a long walk. And I remember, you know, it's like stomach issue where it just hits you and you go, oh my gosh, like I gotta go, like, and I gotta go now. And I jumped in that porta john, and I remember I just dropped drawer. I let her rip. I went, oh, you know, I thought to myself, I know what era we live in. I know what's going on in social media, and I know what area we're in. People will steal the toilet paper. And I remember the you know, the mechanism, and I was like, I didn't check before I went. I was like, I'm gonna have to cut my underwear off and use it for toilet paper. And like I like looked, and there was like one roll, and I'm like, oh, it's here. Like, and it's right on a side road that goes into a really bad area. And I thought, you know darn well with the issues going on, somebody's gonna steal this. Like I was just like, you know, somebody's gonna be out there, or they're just gonna unroll it. Even if they can't get the rod off, they'll just unroll it and put it in there. You know, I'll be like, oh, some free stuff down the road at that porta john. And so I thought for sure I was gonna either be using socks or cutting underwear. And it was a code red, man. And so I agree. I'm glad that's over. But like I said, I kind of get the sneaky, like, I've been hearing through the old YouTube University, you know, the things about, you know, what was some of the stuff that they were just not going to get in? Somebody, oh, I was listening to The Wizard. Anybody ever watch The Wizard, the car wizard? And he was talking about that old Mustang, I think it was, and he couldn't find, he couldn't get a carburetor for it. And it was because of the tariff stuff going on. And he's like, you know, this is really sad. This is an American made car, and I can't buy a full, you know, carburetor. So then he was going to do a rebuild, but then I think they found somebody. There was only maybe left in the whole states, but otherwise they actually came from Canada. Thanks, Canada. But they weren't getting them shipped for whatever reason, because either the prices have changed, whatever went up. And so that's kind of the new like norm, that they're just not going to order them until they know what's, you know, I feel like it's like the government stuff going on, you know, like, you know how like when we have the government shutdown, and then it's like, you know, that, you know, like when they wait till the last minute, and I always get really irritated with it because I go, aren't these a bunch of grown ass men and women? And I go, we can't have a budget figured out until midnight, a minute before midnight, and they came out with the solution. You know, we're just gonna raise the debt ceiling, and it's like, duh. It's like, you guys can't hide this anymore. You know, you keep playing these games over and over. That's why when I hear, I'm like, you know, when I hear they're gonna do government shutdown, I'm like, let them. I'd love to see it. Let it go for 6 months. Let it for a year. And the crack part is they're going to get paid anyways. You know what I mean? Once it turns back on. And I'm like, they won't. It won't happen in your lifetime. It won't happen in my kid's lifetime. It won't happen. It just won't happen. I'd like it to, but it won't. Oregon. Also, and that's a classic crazes, but I wasn't paying attention. Ooh. When gas becomes $8, people will probably start buying the EVs. You don't know. He says, I didn't know electric trucks suck ass. I know, that's why it's kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like I kind of like, I don't like, they'll never just out front tell you. You know, like I was thinking about it today. I don't want to lose this. I was thinking about it today. I heard how General Motors, right? General Motors, with that motor issue having, they believe it's caused by debris. And I thought, why are they saying debris? I thought, okay. I said, well, Toyota Tundras had the same problem recently, the brand new ones, right? They said there was debris left behind. That's why the bearing was going bad. And then GM's got this. And I thought, I know why. Because nobody's going to ever come out. Nobody. Because we are all a bunch of sheep. Bah. They're not going to ever come out and say, we effed up. We have a problem. We screwed up. They're not going to do that. They're going to say, we think the manufacturer left debris in there, right? Because that leaves it really neutral. Well, who was the manufacturer? It wasn't us. It wasn't us. We didn't build them in-house. We had somebody else do it. You know what I mean? We think. But maybe the debris is like, it could happen, it could not. Maybe you should change your oil more often. Maybe you should use a better quality oil filter. Maybe you should use a little thicker velocity, you know, the heavier weights. That's what I think. That's what I think. You know what I mean? I just thought, yeah, we're not going to come out and say, you know, even if you watch, is it the Car Nut guy that does the Toyota? They changed within the 3 years or something like that. They changed a bearing spec on that motor. Never been said, never been told, but they changed a part number on that bearing that was failing. Winky dink. I don't know. Just saying. But what I'm getting at is just like with this and everything, right? It's the same thing, right? When people always get all fired up, I'll never drive. And I'm like, you will. They won't tell you, but you will. Because when it's 10, 20, 100, 1.2 million for a gallon of something, you're going to go, I can't afford that. Ain't no way I can afford that. And it's kind of like with the whole electric thing right now. Like, I just don't know why. I feel like I was telling the Wifertron something today about it. What were you talking about? Something electric. And I said, they're pushing it. And I said, it's like they got you more in control with the electric. I don't know, maybe it'll come to me. Glaze is like $2,500 now. Okay, good. MPQ. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, just did. Conversion gas is about 312 up here. Oh, about the same, huh? I just live, what does it say? I just live out of a box truck or mini bus. I agree. Whatever can save you the money, so you can just invest in me. I'd be game, man. You know, like I said, probably even better. Like Eric probably knows. You know, like the new RVs. If you try to buy RVs, like junk, the roofs on them stink, and you know, you can just outfit it with a little cot, air mattress, whatever. You know, a couple bunks or something. You know, and you can live pretty frugal. You can live in a van down by the river. Charles, not sure what meant by glazed. I chose obscured glass. Cost is 20. Glass is 16. Normally, I think this mean glazed. This mean glass. So I've always heard. Maybe I'll rent a bus bench for. Ooh, there you go. There you go. Ooh, a bus bench. Ooh, never thought about that. Bus bench. Ooh, Rusty's got a good one. He says people who ride the bus don't have garage doors. There is that. But I know in our area, we do have a lot of bus benches that do, and I look at them anyways. We have a lot of heating and cooling guys that put them. I feel like I haven't seen the benches around anymore. I think they actually got rid of them. Yeah, I think they did. I think they got these like just weird concrete with rounded sides. It's almost like so you can't, you know, like there's the benches were too nice. Like people could put their backpack on it and have a pillow and they could sleep on them. So now they just made it rounded where they could technically kind of lay on it, but you have to keep your feet propped up or they just hang off something. They're kind of like a weird, perfect size. It's like they design it so you can't like sleep on it. Where buses don't have houses there, but realtors love to advertise there. Never paid attention to what's Eric got here? On billboards out there and how much we pay. This is I got to ask how we got on billboards out there and how much we pay for advertising. It all depends, man. It all depends. Like I said, about $4,300 for a billboard. I remember for probably about a month. I think they swapped you around town, you know, to make you look like you're in different places for like, you know, they did it like 6 or 8 times. I was like, for $4,300, I was like, do I get the billboard? You know, like after we run it, like I'm gonna make that thing. I'm gonna use that for tarping something or Put it on my building or something. I don't know. Charles, do you sell any Coachman or Ridge models in Oregon? Most popular style and color. Rusty is correct. If you have a garage, you probably have a car, and you don't ride the bus. That's true. I mean, so like for like Eric's there, we got a certain township that I know for certain. You put signs up there, they're getting yanked. You know what I mean? They're getting ripped down. But when the benches were there, you know, you're sitting at the intersection. So I mean, you know, I mean, I was always looking at them. I always certain heating and cooling guy that would kind of ring in my head. You know, there's heating and cooling. I think I had a painter. A painter was on one. I think we had an attorney on another one. Those are the only ones that really come up to mind. Can't remember exactly. I can remember the painter, I think. Heating and cooling place. I don't think I remember theirs, and I don't remember the attorney. But you know, when you're sitting at an intersection, you know how it is. You're just kind of sitting there looking around. If somebody's got a nice, you know, it might just. I think it honestly be better than a billboard. To be honest, be cheaper as long as it's cheaper. When I heard $4,300, I was like, yeah, I'm good. Like I was like, no. I think the radio was like it wasn't that much. Whatever, 8, 12, 24 the most or something. Maybe it wasn't that one wasn't crazy. Honestly, it's pretty hit or miss. Done a few 5-layer solid doors, no glass recently, but it's a lot of steel doors. Just had 5 and classic sold on one property. Ooh, nice. Nice. Eric, I don't ride the bus, but I still notice the bunch, especially if it has a bright colors or an exciting logo. Yep, bright colors make sense. A lot of Coachman's, yes. He says just price 16 obscured 9133 with a 1 MPQ. And it's 2436. Dang. 16 by 8. Prices. Charles, do you have options to use different vendors, or are you just exclusively Clopay, kind of like Rusty is? Good point. Different DCs have different prices, I guess. Charles, yes, RMQ model is 1. Maybe ever on the side of the bus of a bus filter. Ooh. I don't know if they still advertise on the bus. We used to have a company that, you know, drove around. It was basically government funded, and they'd drive around with the bus. They had stuff on the side of their buildings. Different amounts purchased. He says, I think we bought 24.6. Clopay price last year. Oh man, this is like 9. Oh, should be getting better price than me. We're the second biggest here right now. A1 just closed out here. What's Charles mean by that? What's that mean? A1 just closed out here. Can you elaborate on that? How many employees? Got 10. What's your top line? Is higher, so our price will be higher, I'm sure. I don't keep track of that. That's the question for the owner. I just run the shop. Maybe Eric's got maybe Toyota and GM should do better quality control before they destroy their reputation. I don't know, man. Dude, I don't know. I can get kind of fired up about that because I tell you, it's like, I don't know. People just keep driving the crap. You know what I mean? The junk stuff, you know, that it's like they're funded, right? Government motors, they just get funded, and it's like they all have to comply to play, right? That's why I kind of think some stuff is really controlled. Like it's all just really controlled by the government. They just keep it silent. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you want to play the EP, got to hit our standards, and they're changed a little bit. They're trying to keep their numbers down. Then they're trying to hit the EPA numbers of fuel mileage and all this other crap. And then it just, that's the stuff that blows my mind. That's stuff that really blows my, this is where we're at. This is the best we can come up with. Come on. Who are you trying to trick here? You know what I mean? I ain't stupid. No, he's deal with a lot, but don't bother with that stuff. What is hourly? We charge by the job, not hour unless commercial. To hourly, I'm bidding for something. He says I'm bidding $4.75. Are crazy expensive. Everybody around here have crazy old RVs or just buy old school buses or Ford Transit vans. That's cool. That's good. It's honestly hard to say all our text price and sell their doors on their own. We trust them to do it. Nice. They all bid a little differently. Never heard of that. That's cool. That is cool. It's just keeps them all accountable. Do they have a minimum, maximum they can bid them? Yeah, we can use, okay, so you can use CHI, AMAR, and Wayne Dalton as well as some local custom door companies. Oh, that's cool. At least you're exclusive. It is nice to have some options. So that's good. If they bid high and the customer accepts, does employee get to keep the extra? Go for the bus. That's right, Rich. Go for the bus. They don't have a max, but if they go around ripping off customers, not going to end well for them. Yes, they get cut of the profit. And we try not to sell at least less than a 45% margin if possible. Ooh, that's it. What does it say? Oh, come on, get out of there. It says CHI has nicer. This is plank doors. Clope says so. Options are nice. Heck yeah, man. If you're stuck with one, we can price around a lot too. You know what I mean? And we see different price time. You know, depending on what the customers and stuff like that, what their needs are, want, and you just kind of get a feel for the good stuff. What was I looking at here? Let me go back. Yes. Rusty. Oh, I was asking Charles. I think he said something about A1. That got my attention. So Charles, can you elaborate? A1, are you just saying like they closed? Like did they shut down, or do you mean like A1 just came into town and is dominating you guys or something? Like what did you mean by that? I was just curious. Siege has nicer. Rusty says, if you bought the door 2436, we are charging the customer and closed here. They left. Wow, left the Portland, huh? Do you have any info on that, Charles? Do you like have any reason or suspicion, or have you talked to any customers or any of their techs, or just heard through the grapevine on the reason? That seems kind of. This just seems kind of odd. I'm just curious because right now that seems like that's that next. It's kind of the next Dollar General right now. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like everybody's got Dollar General popping up. I just seen one in another town. This one was a fancy one. Not like really. Shoot for 100% markup if possible. A1 close. That's right. Do that labor. So all the old Portland techs on account of working for them for a period of time, they were super slow and too expensive for the area. Interesting. and didn't compromise on their pricing. Ooh, this is juicy. This is good. Thank you for sharing. Probably too expensive, too expensive to operate. Well, you know, it's weird because what is A1 promoting right now? I don't want to say it's 29. I think that's the oil change street right now. But I think they're offering a 15. I thought it was $59 service right now. You know, like to basically show up. And obviously, we probably know how that goes. That's just a gimmick. And then the technician's going to be, the spring's going to be $1,200 change when a normal one would be $400. So I just kind of curious because I don't know. It's one of those that the I don't know Tom. I can't say nothing bad about Tommy, but you just see that you know what I mean. Like you just keep how it is. You always hate, but you never hear the bad. So to hear that, it's kind of like really like I don't know how Tommy does it. I don't know if he's actually talking to these door companies and like when they're signing on. Maybe him not directly, but somebody just below him a couple notches or himself, and they're setting them up. They're getting them all excited. You can make all this millions of dollars, and then it's like, like every market's a little different, and you got to be able to compromise. I mean, you got to be able to know when to hold, when to fold, when to, hey, it's working. This isn't clicking. We gotta shift gears a little bit. Oh, really? Well, if you got something, Evan, like you said, the link or something or a screenshot, send it to me. I mean, I guess, nutshell, I thought you were kind of like, you got the book and stuff. Like I said, I keep hearing some of the stuff, and it's kind of like, and it's like one of those things. You're like, how you doing it? How are you doing that? Like I know I've seen one truck. I know where it lands, where it parks. But obviously, it's supposedly, I think they're more the GR area, the Grand Rapids of Michigan. And interesting. Like I said, our area is kind of cheap. So that's a tough, people will shop around. People have no problem calling 612 people. It's like, I always kind of thought to myself, it's like sometimes our market can be more like people have more time than they have money. You know what I mean? So how do you beat that? I mean, like if they got more time than they got money, they will call and call and call. They don't care. They just don't care. Let 20 people show up. I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna pick. It's all right. This guy was cheaper. Yeah, I'm gonna pick him. You know. Probably profitable. Steaks. Which steaks on there? No, A1 in Pennsylvania only. Precision. In the bigger cities, precision. Has anybody got Pro Lift? Does anybody have Pro Lift in the area? I think we still got a Pro Lift. I haven't seen them around lately, so check. They might have went bye-bye. Don't add labor on top. We have little service fees that get thrown into the bids, usually at about $300. We add extra labor charges if we have to do something out of the ordinary. Rich. You're having, what is this? So is this like every train? Is this like every train videos? What Kevin's trying to say? They put out, they are having head out. Really? I haven't noticed. I haven't watched enough of them, I guess. They're having a cookout. What's up, Richard? It's good to see you. Hope you've been doing good. Huh. That's interesting. Now it got me curious. I feel I got to be like watching some of those videos. Like, want to see the cookouts. They really having steak? Dang, man, living the dream. This is out to find sizes, but I saw something. A1s don't have the best quality of work. Charles prices. I'm convinced the most expensive in the country. Hey, you know, Rusty, I mean, like I said, if you can do it, great. But I think the most of the demographics of the more other areas, you got a lot of competition. You know what I mean? So it's just you just can't do it. And like Tanner said the one time too, you know, you do it long enough, you'll get such a bad rap that people just won't they just won't use you. You know what I mean? We have a just to give you an idea, right? We have a company or a restaurant around here, and it's just a local mom and pop. It's always been two different owners, two different locations. One had like 3, 4, I think 4 or 5 locations. The other one only had 2. Another company bought it, and this company comes in here like a big wig, right? They do advertising with signs, and so all the buildings get new advertising, new signs on the side. All the buildings get new paint jobs, parking lot perfect. Inside gets all new interior look, total different design, more of like a Starbucks, right? And then they went to the fountain drinks where you can't refill yourself, which really irritates me. The service went down, right? But the prices went up. And Muskegon has pretty much revolted them. They've already closed 2 stores. I think they only have 2 left, and I keep thinking it's a matter of time. You know what I mean? But I was funny because I was talking to a technician that works here, and he was telling me that he goes, I won't go there. He goes, he had nothing else to say, but he just said their prices. He says their prices they're like whatever $3, $4 more. He says a meal than the other locations. And me, it's about service, you know what I mean? So I kind of go on service. Plus, it doesn't hurt to have a cheaper price. But plus, if I like to be able to fill up my drink when I want, you know, so it just price can, you know. And now I think of it, when I talk to the old business owner, I used to be friends with him. I told him, hey, what's your biggest problem in the business? I said, what do people, contest the most? What do they complain? He says, price. And I said, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, price of the food. And I said, wow. And so I wasn't expecting that. I was waiting for like service, or the orders are wrong, or too long of a wait. They line, they leave. But yeah, the price, so I don't know. ProLift is a franchise. It's not actually, or it's not usually any competition. Richard, Easy Lift. Never heard of Easy Lift. Anybody else ever hear of Easy Lift? There's a couple Pro Lifts. Okay, in PA. I know one, but that's just because it closed. We might have a few more here in the old Michigan. Chuck Steak. There is a lot of little companies here that undercut, the hell out of us. He says, we go too high. He says, we have a good rep, and we have been since 1983. Oh, wow. So there's some expectation with our pricing. Sounds about like us. We have a little bit more grace to some degree, but not a lot. You get too easy, they'll whack you down. Eric says you got to have free refills. Absolutely. McDonald's, I think, are doing that too, and that really was like just like, no thanks. You know what I mean? I won't even go to certain restaurants if it's like you can't do your own refills or whatever. What would that be for us, Eric? It says what? It says free baby. Sky, what's up, Sky? Works for those guys. Sky's got, is it? So your brother works, is it for the one? What is it called? Is it Easy something? Easy Lift? So you got some in your area too, Sky? Works for those guys. Evan, Rockets, right. Sleazy? Ooh, sleazy. I love it. House guys, cheesy lifty, whatever. Oh man, that's fun. We got a lot of word of mouth business, like 40% of our call are word of mouth. So we need to try and stay around the same price, avoid awkward conversations with customers. Fair enough. Fair enough. Sounds about like kind of like our market. Same thing. Hey, so we got, thank you guys for hitting like button. Uh, commission based pays tax. What does it say? Same with Mexican. Keep the chips. Oh yeah, that's right. Keep the chips and salsa coming. That's right. Red Lobster. Keep the cheddar biscuits coming. Dang, I haven't been to Red Lobster in like forever. Our Red Lobster really has like diminished. Like the service was like it was just it was like we were paying a primo in the service. And I know you shouldn't base it off of one time, but the building was getting rough. I don't even know if they're still around, honestly. I don't even know if we still have one. Chew up a lot of businesses around Muskegon. I switched from House Call Pro, been with them to too expensive. Switched over to, is it Marquette? Huh. That's pretty interesting, Richard, because most, I don't think, I don't know. I just hear weird things about the House Call Pro, so I'm surprised. Is it very good and they're cheap? Nice. Just remind me, Richard, is I'm drawing a blank here. Is the House Call Pro, is that the software or is that advertising? Remind me, would you? Do 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 do. Marquee is very good and cheap. I don't even like seafood. He's like, I want it for chicken fingers and the biscuits. Rich, you can't afford put a small increase on every job. I don't know if it's that, yeah. Dan's got on here. What is the Marquette? Oops. Oh no, what did I do? Oh no, what did I do? There we go. Oh, and Service Titan. Oh, Charles got. Okay, CRM. Okay. Do you know, Richard? I mean, roughly, do you know what you're paying? Is it per month? And the big thing is, if it's per month, though, is it one of those things that it's not a contract? See, that was the big thing for that was the big thing for me for Jobber. Jobber had contracts, and I was like, I am sold because I used another, I forget what it was called, Fleet something or whatever, and they got for like $3,500 or something. You had to pay up front. It was so barbaric. It was like using Microsoft for like trying to go to like Google. And I was like, I don't want nothing to do with it. I had a guy that was working here and he's like, we have to, we paid for it. I'm like, I could care less. And I just told him, I said, I said, college isn't free. And this is one of those lessons that we just got to dump it and run. And then we moved over to Jobber and it was like so smooth. And Jobber's just been really, really good to us. I just, it's like I hear zero complaints from the secretary, I hear zero complaints from the techs, I hear zero complaints when we have subs. I don't know, it just works. So it's like if it works and you don't have problems. I mean, I don't know how SOS deals with any of it because I know he's got he's doing whatever endorsed or something like that. I don't know if he was on the works whatever it is, worksy or whatever. Estimated invoicing. And then, oh, yeah, that's right. I wanted to know how price and if there was a contract. Wait, we are supposed to be using CRMs. Yes. When you make the big money and you got so much money to spend and waste You must get from paper and pen. And it's been great. Ooh, good. Seen a lot of people complain about. He says, but I haven't had any issues complain about. Rusty says it's 40 a month. You could put dollar fee in every job. $40. That's cheap. Which one is that? If it says that's cheap. What's everyone charging for an opener in a box that the customer bought? Ooh, what's everybody charging? Whew, that could change probably 170 to 175 to like 225. That's my guess. That's if it's 5 Mile famous. This guy depends if they bought chain or not. Oh, that's a good one. That's good. 805 Chamberlain, 850 Genie. 450 plus trip and big no warranty. That's true. That's right. You need to go pay. So House Call Pro, 120. Okay. Month with plugins, market, or Marquee. I don't know how to say that. Is 550 a year. Not bad. Pick up Tony on your way. Rich has got 200. Yeah, I mean it's normally like for us it's roughly like to double it. So the opener is going to be $200. So it's going to be about 225 somewhere in there. Crumbles, Rusty. I'll be on my way. This guy's got Chamberlain. I like installing the Chamberlain. I prefer the Chamberlain when I got to do customers. They bought them from the box store. It's so much better than the Guardian stuff or, the Extreme or whatever else they got out there. Normally more simple, more support. Genie. Do y'all deal with Genie or LiftMaster more? I'm more of a Genie fan. That's just me. I think I don't got nothing against the LiftMaster. For some reason I just got a really soft spot for it. I love the professional series, Mental. I like the Genie. I like the C channel. I love that I can slam it up against the ceiling. I've literally screwed through the rails when I've had to for certain circumstances. Really tight. I like the screw drives. I just a big screw drive. I like how they stop. I like how they run. I like the speed. But I was trying to think of a model that Genie makes that's like really, how do I other say it versus just like sexy. Liftmaster's got just some really like sexy openers. They really do. They're beautiful. They're beautiful. Like they look like masterpiece. Especially when they used to have the red ones. They just look so glimmery. They got really nice openers. But you just want a solid workhorse, and I like those for the most part. The Genies, they just serve me pretty well for the most part. It's like I would say, I'm always looking for the cleanest shirt in the dirty laundry basket. There's nobody that I'm just I mean I used to be, I used to be back in the 2008 era and all that kind of stuff. 2009, 10, LiftMaster all day long. You couldn't change my mind. Just installed so many. I never had callbacks, never had problems. Always had solid, nice Y brackets, nice photo eyes that always worked, that were consistent, decent wire. I even got staplers. You guys probably don't remember. Oh, getting low. You guys probably don't remember, but I used to get the handbangers with them. Not anymore. Nope, that's extra. That the bean counters got that out of there. Some point says Chamberlain. Some point LiftMaster. Because run the wires through the rail inside the tube to the motor. It's not bad. I struggle with that because I always forget, and then I'm trying to shove them down the tube if it's the box store ones, and I'm like, mother fudgers, I can't get it down there. So I don't know. He says, do you have to swap a lot chassis kits of The 6170s. I don't think so. Not that I know of. I don't know what the 6170 really is right top of my head. I thought everything I dealt with was like the 4000 series, you know. Do the same thing. Richard Liftmaster. They make strips that you can put on top. Yep. 400 extra included. I think aren't those strips kind of expensive? Those clips that go on top of the T-rails. I feel like I remember I got some and I was like, man, these things are a little bit overpriced or something. Let me see if I was a best looking opener. Oh yeah, Eric's got it. Yeah, there you go. The 8550. They're right. That's probably they were just there was just no denying it, man. You just pull them out. I was like, dude, that's just, I mean, it's like a John Deere just sitting there. I mean, looks beautiful, looks great. I can't think of one genie that I like. You know what I mean? They look like you bought the what's the cheap, like a cheap Hoover or something, vacuum cleaner from the grocery store. You know, you didn't get the nice. I can't one that off the top of my head, but you didn't get the nice metal one, you know, from the actual vacuum store. You bought this one at the grocery store, just a cheap one, you know. That's what they look like. They look like cheap vacuum cleaners, the genies. Like I can't even think of a genie. I just go, wow, nice metal case, super well, just looking slick, looking baby. You know, it's always just like, there's your Bic lighter. You know, it's gonna work. Don't worry, it's gonna work. But Charles again. It's for hours about stupid. It says Cassie Chits on the 6170s, and Genie. They fixed the issues. It says our Genie rep bought 6 Cassie free last Friday. I have to look that up. The 6170s? What is that one? I don't think we got any 6170. Let me try to take a glance here. Well, we got a little bit of battery left. I don't think we carry that, right? What's that one? No, 4064H. Ooh, there's a close one right there. That's a 6070. That's a 6070H, so it's not a 61. Right, 6170. Let's just cheat. I don't remember that model right off the top of my head. 40. Got some Liftmasters. 2028. That's the cheaper one. I remember that's the 2028. I don't see none. No, I don't see none. I feel like this was a glass one they just got. What model were you guys talking about for the Clopay? Let's see if we can switch this around. Let's take a look at this one. It's this one. Oh, I guess there isn't glass in here. No, it's just a model. This is a 3720. My bad. I just thought it's not real good. Probably leave a glass panel if somebody step on it. Not be good. Not be good. Let's see if I can charge this, if this will work. Charging, it says 1%. I wonder if I can do it dual. I'm kind of curious though, Charles. You were saying you like the genies. What kind of gets you? What do you like about the genies? I'm just curious. I know I have the T-rail clips. I like a rattling on all the big box stores. Rattling drive down the road. So annoying to me. Yeah, I mean, I think the genies are kind of rattly to some degree too. You know, thinking of like the C channels. To run the wire through each section as I build the rail. I figured that's what you do, but what is it? What is it with the? There's something to it. It was just a little bit confusing to me because like so the one job I did before, I didn't do it right, and then I was like crap. So then I was gonna do it on the next one, but then I was like, well, like, how do I through the rail, and then I got to deal with this wad of wires, then I got to put the rail together, and then I got to bring the wad, like I was just like, it'd be so much easier just to put the opener and run it down the tube, and I was just like, screw it. And I think that was the one I did with the side mounter, and I had wood up on the ceiling of that, so I just ran everything, I just stapled, I had wood everywhere, so I just stapled. It was way easier. I think because I was in the unknown, I didn't know exactly where it was going to land. Doo-doo. Good part number. Good part number. Knowledge. 61 is... Oh, so it's the Genie... Okay, Genie jack shaft. Resny jack shaft. Okay. I think that's... Oh, now I know where we're going. Okay, so that's the one that SOS was talking about that Genie had problems with, right? That is a bummer. Whoops. The new dual LED Chamberlain is flagship motor now. Which I had some T-rail clips today. Garage was in today. Ran wire before the garage was drywalled, and then no one left to cut out. Oh man, sensor wires, had to run wires extra. Ooh man. Yeah, it's definitely nice to have that T-rail clip, man. That stuff comes in so handy. That stuff will just save the day. And I think that's why sometimes it all depends, right? But with the Genies, I like it because it's got that wide channel, and they'll normally give you those stickers which don't work the best. You got to use like almost like alcohol pads to clean off so they'll stick good, but you kind of have some options, you know what I mean? But like if you get in that situation where you got a T-rail and you're just, what do you do? Like, what do you do? What do you do? Like, there's like nothing else you can do. Either you run the staples on the ceiling, which looked like garbage. I think I've like stapled the knot out of them or zip tied it to something, whatever, and then I just ran the wire all the way back to the angle. Just try to, or I don't think I've ever taped one I can think of, but you just try to do your best. But boy, to have that clip for that T-rail, oh man, is it good? It's good. Life is good at that. But if you ain't got that, life is miserable. Says the wire dangling. You see an opener. Wires coming from the ceiling. The sensors that weren't hooked up. Turns a Genie. The old Pro 88 is the best looking opener they ever made. The 850 and 880 also looks pretty good. The 6170 has Wi-Fi. Ooh. Yeah, we just don't do a lot of jack shafts. We really don't. I don't know if it's just the nature of the beast in the area, or it's because everybody, in a nutshell, like in the company, we all kind of, I don't know. I think it really is because they're more expensive. A lot of our retros are not built for them, so you don't have the outlet there. It's more of a pain to do. But just, I personally don't like them. I know a lot of the guys. It just like nobody here does. They're the best. We got to do them. You know what I mean? And we just don't have a lot of techie people where they're just like, high end stuff. Where it's like, I don't want to look at that ugly rail. They're just like, how much? And you tell them price, and like, that's fine. Just make the dart go up and down. That's all I care about. Like, okay, like this will be your cheapest option. What's up, Jets, by the way? It's good to see you. Same thing. Says, but with no Wi-Fi. So in California, we got screwed because the mandatory backup battery now. We only have a few more, like 4 options. Oh yeah. Yeah, Cali, right? I wonder who won in that battle, the lobbyist. Who got that passed. Did you ever install the other jack shaft in the shop? It says nope, you volunteered. Rusty says, Rusty, I thought you got the 98322 hooked up. Ooh. The wireless ball button, huh? It's my favorite part of those genies. Interesting. Yeah, I just don't know if the whole wireless. I just get nervous. You know, every time we do, it's like when we do wireless keypad for like gates. It's just a matter of time. It's like customers just don't ever understand that they got to replace the batteries. It'll just turn into a call, and it just sucks to have to go back out for like a silly call for that. Maybe it says in. Maybe we are getting power. Something different. I'm powering a pack to power the. I don't know. Maybe I just learned something today. Genie support is just more helpful with warranties. They can be sold for less. My queue is a pain. And my ass says when old people hold the wrong. Oh, try and set up. Genie is less hassle, nicer rails. Yeah, I think those are pretty nice. Install 2 to 3. We're ready, and so when you're ready, and I can come out. Richard, 98032, 24 volt. Also, Genie photo eyes are nice. LiftMaster's stupidest track clip has gotten to be the stupidest design. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. You know, I was literally just telling what were we working on? We were working on a Chamberlain, right? No, a LiftMaster, and that brown door one. And they had the old photo eye brackets, but then they screwed on the new photo eyes, the new style that are shorter, so it didn't really fit in the cradles. And then they had them screwed to the wall. And so it wasn't my install, right, for the opener. Somebody did it back in the day of I don't know who. I don't think it was anybody here, but I was telling Caleb. I said because he's like, you know, he's a new lad, you know, and so he's up there trying to program it, and I can tell there's a little bit of confusion because he's used to the newer ones now that obviously do it like you know how they always say like the new kids, you know, they're so much lazier and they don't have to do it. So he's used to like pushing the button, setting limits, and then the opener is gonna beep 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 beep, and then it's gonna do its own cycle. And I'm a little bit old school. I think you're okay with it this way, but he was setting limits, and he's like, okay, now what do I do? Because it's not beeping, and I'm like, I was like, you gotta hit the open button. Let it open. I said it should be learning its 4 settings on that setting, and then, you know, hit the down, and it does it. And I use the wall button. That's just what I did, but he was already there. I just said hit it, and I said this is why I said this is getting to be really annoying, and I said because, you know, I said there's, you know, it was kind of like, does anybody remember like when LiftMaster? Remember how like you did it for years and you set up the keypad the same every time and it worked perfectly. And then they got this creative idea where you had like hit like the 0 or something to like make it activate. And it was like, it's like it's like you're riding a bike, but you go to a customer and you look like a total amateur. And you're just like, what the, like, something might be wrong with this keypad. What is going on? And then you're like, finally like, well, all these instructions say something different. What the, why did they change? Like, what was the reason for doing this? And so I just can't stand that stuff. Drives me nuts. And then it's like they reverted back, and then it's kind of like our what was it, our the clips, right? The clips motorcycle. Sound like somebody was here. I was like, got a boogeyman coming. But it's like the clips, right? They went to 1 clip, but then it was like they got enough blowback on that, so they went back to 2 clips, but not as sturdy as the old ones, it seemed like. And it's just like, quit trying to pinch pennies, please. And then the J-arm, you know, it used to be a solid J-arm. Now it's a hollow J-arm, you know, stamped J-arm. I could kind of live with that, but it was inconvenient for the bolts, right? The other ones used to be really easy to bolt, and then this one now you got to make sure the bolt sticks through. You put your split washer in on one side, and then you go to use an impact. Now you got to get your wrench in there sideways versus you used to be able to just put it on flat. Little inconvenience like that really irritate me or very annoying, because they're cutting into your time. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. Or might have a callback. So I have 950 at a shop, lifts it like nothing. Between Genie side mount and LiftMaster is overhead room needed. Genie only needs 2-inch. Ooh. I think LiftMaster only needs 2, or you go the drop down kit. 2-inch, 2 foot or 2-inch. Oops, did I miss something here? 24. This is overhead door needs only Genie only needs 2. I need 2 drop down. If the drums fit the Genie, oh, that's a good way to do it. I like that. Jet says if the drum fits, Genie will fit. That's a good. I like that. That's good to know. LiftMaster needs 3.5. Gotcha. That's the stuff. I like this stuff though. That stuff that resonates with me better, right? The drums fit, we're good, because I don't know about you, but you just never know who did the detail or something got missed, or and then you know what I mean? Like that would be a bummer. Like that mount when I did. That one it was tight. Hey. And those drop down kits, aren't they kind of pricey? Aren't they like 45, 65, 75, 85? They're a little bit of chunk of change. Eric says swing motor is probably why the doesn't sound like shit. He says, we have a lot of golf swimmers or ping pong tables in garages. So, oh, okay. So we install the side mount. Well, that's pretty cool. That's good to know. Those are just hazards. Wall button. Oh yeah, the 885. Like the chaff shafts because doing high lifts and 40-inch radius. Ooh. 40-inch. They make 40-inch radius. I've heard a 30-inch radius, but I didn't know they made 40-inch radius. Back of drywall. Wireless remote. There you go, Rusty. That's a good. Yeah, that works. Evan says, the only one that does completely hate the new Chamberlain safety sensor brackets. Yeah, this is. No, I don't think so. Like I said, it just depends on, like, you might be dealing with some of the old stock too, because I think they went to 1 clip. That was dumb. And then I think when they went back to 2, maybe somebody can let me know if that's for sure. So the neighbor did just that, Rusty. Ooh, perfect. Yes. Bracket sucks. Rusty's hours. The new safety eyes by Chamberlain need to be bolted to track to make sure they are evenly lined up. And so you don't have a callback for realignment. 100%. Dang. It sucks you gotta mess with photo eyes like that. Those old school photo eyes LiftMaster, they were just so bulletproof for the most part. I hardly ever had photo eye issues. Just clip them on the track, man. They could take even some vibrations. They were just, you just go. 100% he loves 357. LiftMaster should give some extension brackets in every offer box so you can easily screw to wall or concrete. Our stem walls, he says, For the organ, he says, we can't use. Oh, gotcha. For the brackets. I struggle every time I program a Genie keypad. Eric, oh my gosh, man, the keypads on Genie kind of do suck. I've gotten to the point where I would, I even got a Genie keypad now that's got a glitch. It's like weird. You punch in the number, you'll hit the up and down arrow, and nothing. And you're like, okay, I'm sure I punched in the right number. And I mean, this has happened numerous times. And so like you'll do it, you punch in the up and down, right? Nothing. Oh, okay. So then you hit the up and down button again. It works sometimes, not all the time. And then you get in the rhythm, right? You type in the number again, and you're like, God darn it, it's not working. So then you got to be like, patient. You wait for it to quit blinking. Now this time you're like, because you're probably like me, right? You're just kind of I got to do this, I got to get the truck going, I got to get this, I got to go to the grocery store, I got to, So now you're like, what's going on here? So you're like, all right, you do the number, boom, boom, Genies, right? Genie keypads, everybody knows, right? It's a very push, not push. It's push. And so I get in, I hit it, nothing again. Hit the up and down, boom, works. It keeps working, so I don't mess with it, but I'm always like, I think this keypad's faulty. I'm like, this would probably be a callback. So that's a problem. But what I've also learned is what I normally do is always, I used to program right on the ladder because I've done it way too many times with Genies that I'd go down, you mount it to the stinking wall, right? And you're punching the number in, you can't see exactly what it's doing. You got to do it that twice, which always kind of sucks. You know what I mean? So I just do it up on a ladder. I just sit around the ladder. I'd be on text too, and they're like, "You gotta be 3 feet away," and I'm like, "Yep, I am." And I'm like, just a foot, there. It's not working, and I forget. Does anybody remember the code that you punch in? There's a punch in that keypad that basically will wipe that keypad out to like factory, and I can't remember quite the sequence to do it. I don't think they tell you on the label or anything, or maybe even in the instructions. But they'll tell you when you call tech support. It's like you got to hold down like 3, 6, and what is it, 8 or something, like in a combination, and then like do something, and it'll start doing whatever it does, and it erases the whole thing. We're longer too. Short time wish they were longer. 98032 comes with extension bracket. Really? Yeah, 98032 and come with extensions. Nice. Genie changed the way they program the keypad. The 357 code is to start. Yeah, Genie keypads, Genie remotes. I've never been a big fan of how they program. Wants you to program 2 doors to the Genie. Oh wow, that's a real headache. Yeah, I don't normally get that. Like typically, I'm always like, no, I'm like one keypad, and it's kind of weird because I had a house that had multiples, and I always had one keypad, and I thought that's stupid to have like multiple keypads. And as time went on, I kind of told myself, God darn, it would be nice to have every door have a keypad because there was just times like you just certain bay would have certain things in it, or you know what I mean? Like it's just like, wow, that would be really nice. Like I'm not going to tell customers anymore, you really don't want a keypad for everyone, do you? Like, that's be silly. But now I'd be like, dude, put a keypad on everyone. You'd be surprised. Have a friend come over, they might, maybe a kid needs to get in that bay for getting a car or whatever. Process borderline impossible. I dread the 357. I tell them I try to program the keypad to a second door. It's $125. Oh my gosh. My price in my jeans high, says Rusty says, I don't have to do as many. There you go. Well, that's true, man. That is true. I have to always tell myself I have to be humble. I always go, the more it takes to, and I guess supposedly so far, I don't think we have a lot of time with them. So far, Cap has been saying that since we've been putting surge protectors, we haven't had a failure yet with a Genie. But he has been noticing photo eye issues with the new LiftMaster. And I told him, I said, if it was me, I said, I would just try to stick more with the Genies. So I have to tell myself when we're Genies, I have to go, and I tell myself, I go, it's taking longer now, but it's saving me in the long run. It's saving me a call. It's saving me. It's reliable. It's going to work. I mean, the only time we really have problems with Genies is the red light of death. Power outages will get them, lightning strikes. But so far, knock on wood, we've been doing pretty good. Do 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 do. I don't think it's impossible to program 2 ops to a single Genie code pad. Genie installs so fast. So he says 4 screws, 2 legs. True, true. Be a year since I started my business, so I have yet to touch any Genies. Genies for me were always like, back when I first started, it was always like, it always depend, right? If I was doing like a new install for like a builder and they had the whole garage already drywalled and the wires were already present, it was like Genie was the opener, right? Because I was always like, yes. I was like, the Genies already come with the photo eyes and they just got the screws in the back. So no wires to deal with. So I was like, sweet. So I just mount the Genie photo eyes. I tie wires. I was like, sweet, man. Like, this is great. I don't have to cut no wires. I don't have to splice no wires. This is like how it was designed. So that was always my thing. And then it was like when I went to houses that were like and everything's exposed, it's just all wood and rafters and everything. I was always like, oh, like I'm glad I got a LiftMaster, or Chamberlain, because the wires are already attached and everything. So I have no splices. So I just run my wires, because there was no wires present, and just snap, snap, snap with a staple gun. But now it kind of sounding like what Cap told me on that last episode was they're making the wire so cheap. The wire had a failure and he was having photo eye issues, and he went back and he was explaining how he was diagnosed, and it was basically the wire was a problem. He didn't nick the wire. He tripped the wires. He put the photo eyes up. They worked, but then and that does not surprise me. Genie got me, or not Genie, but LiftMaster got me in that years ago with those commercial style ones. I did an install. I bought the wire from my vendor that was LiftMaster wire, but it's like the thinner stuff, right? It's like the stuff used for residential. Ran everything, and that thing foobarred me. Like the photo eyes had a little flicker to it. You just could not even see it. This was such a flicker, and this opener would randomly like be running. It would stop, it would reverse, and I called tech support, and they're like, "You must have photo eyes." It probably cost me 2 hours of screwing around. And then finally, I went back to our heavier wire. I draped it down, from the opener. I got things working, and I'm like, okay, I'm not losing my mind. I'm not going crazy. Okay. So then I'm like stapling the wires up, and it was like, I'd like staple the wires and I'd like run the opener again. I'm like, okay, it's still running, right? Okay. Staple some more, everything. Like, how you get into like that weird, like conservative mode. Just like, I am so like, you know, I feel like the man, but now I feel like a child. Like I don't know what the hell I'm doing, because like then come to find out it was the wire was too thin. So that doesn't surprise. Mm. Overhead, what's up? Says I got a piece of inside info from person. A tractor for one of his customers said, my so expensive, he will never use me again. Principal of my kid's school. Whoa. This is for $50 for Friday evening. Peter's got. What's up, Peter? Service did he buy? That's good to get rid of those customers before they waste your time. Plenty of people will pay for your service. It's got Charles. He says you can program keypad to both openers using 357 code before the customer changes the code. That saves a little bit of headache. That's good. Door was to say here. Door was a little. He took bottom fixture off. Needed large amount of adjustments. Ooh. I replaced left vertical track. Yeah, I mean, I think you were kind of in the wheelhouse. I don't think you were really gouging them for that price. Remember, he is one of those, and then it matters to him. Will accept and be happy. Strut and bottom fixtures, 2 hours. And we're out of whack by any means. I just don't have many customers. Boy, what do you do in that? I don't. That's yeah, I guess there really isn't much you can. I mean, you know, I guess we do. You know, those things. We live in a world that we just can't make everybody happy. I mean, you got to make a living, and I don't think. I mean, I don't think that was out of the, you know, out of the range. According to Genie, you can have 2 different codes for 2 different doors on the same keypad. Anyone who's tried knows that's a load of BS. Maybe once in a blue moon. That's interesting. That's why, like, for me, I think I'd probably attempt it, honestly. I didn't even know that really existed. I never even really crossed paths. To me, it's always like isolation. Like, this keypad goes to this opener. This keypad is going to go to this opener. We don't cross mingle, you know, because that just gets to be too confusing for me anyways. And then somebody's like hitting the wrong code and they're like, you programmed this, but it's not, you're entering the wrong, like you know, you're hitting number 2 and you're supposed to be number 1. And, you know, like, no, it just, you know, I've just like with keypads, you know, I've done keypads where like I've numbered them. Like, well, how does that work for you? Like, I used to have one at mom's, and I always thought of the 2 keypads, right? They were stacked on. And I always like, if you get them out, that would be what garage door they go to. Like, that's how my head worked. You know, if you took these keypads, they swung out flat. This one's far, goes over this door. This one goes that door. You know, so and some people, you know, who knows? Can't get the phone to ring. Oh man, I hate hearing that. Well, maybe some guys will say, you know, some stuff in there. I mean, you know, it could depend on your market, you know, a little bit too. Like I said, I don't think that, you know, I'm seeing real in my area. You know, it's very hit and miss. People are, I think Papa talked about it, you know, they're definitely price shopping. So it's really, even for us, you know, like I said, even, you know, 18 plus years, you know, not really deep. There's nothing going real gangbuster. You know, it's spring was me. It's like we're chugging, but it's not like holy crap. It's just so much is coming in. We're drowning. It's just like I said. You know, this is not a I don't know how to say it, but this isn't a markets where I just go, wow, this is gangbuster. You just sneeze that you do garage doors, and it's like people are just gonna come running. You know. How long? No one code for both doors. 3 phase up for 1 or 2. Charles, yeah, that's possible. Jeannie says you can have 2 different codes though. Ugh, that sounds like it was a pain in the butt already. B and calling storage facilities and their businesses has garage doors. You need to get your name in people's minds. Or 1 year, he says 15 months. This she says not having a dealership makes that hard. What's the dealship? Is this? I'm assuming it's like not having something for like a vendor or something. I don't think I have seen a set of spoiled liftmaster sensors. The genie ones always got boxed, or what does it say? Boxed and split open. Oh yeah, they do split. There's no doubt about that. A little electrical will take care of that, no problem. If you can get any property manager or storage unit people on your side, business to keep you busy, property management that trust you is big deal. Yeah, I'd probably shoot for property. At least around here anyways for the property managers, and property managers typically in a nutshell kind of want more of a price, more of a good price. The storage units we really have a really hard time with. It's like if they're big enough, they have their own maintenance people, and the maintenance person's just on the payroll, and they kind of thing. I've worked for a lot of storage units, and they were good for starting out. If you ain't got nothing, I mean, $20 here, $40 here, $65 here, $80, $120 is better than nothing. But they like some of the storage units that we did, like it took like two guys to roll up the curtains, and then they're just hot and full of crap and garbage, and sometimes they'd have a guy that would stand there and watch us the whole time, make sure we didn't steal nothing out of the unit. They were real pain in the hiney. You know what I mean? Like our property managers, they're okay. They like to shop a little bit, or they'll like you kind of them a price, and then you don't hear from them for like 3 months or 6 months, and they call you and they're like, "Hey, gave us a price on this door. Like, can you come fix it like now? Because it's like and you're like." That was 6 months ago. Like, why are you, whatever, but it definitely is filler. You know what I mean? It's definitely, it'll keep things going, you know. Something's better than nothing. Profitable. You don't need anything more than spring and other parts. Yeah, that's true. That's true, Rusty, on that. Like I said, I always think about if you could find a way just to do garage dirt springs, man. We're probably not gonna have enough business typically to just do that, but service, same thing, I guess. Some cables, some lube, some rollers, some really small stuff. We all have 5 big property management companies that use exclusively, and we can run 5 days a week for them. Nice. They don't ask questions. They approve on the spot usually. Ooh, that's nice. That's very nice. Ta-da. I don't have a dealership here tech, but this month alone has been the best month so far. When I first started, I'd be lucky to get one job a month, but since the start of this year, things have started to pick up. Yep, it just takes time. It takes time. It really does. That's the biggest thing. Takes time, hustle. You got to just keep persistently. You got to change things up. You got to, try the bandit signs or the card signs. Try to, make sure you're putting up the cards. At wherever, the words to put up your business cards. If you can get something on a vehicle, even if it's a magnet sticker or something like that. So when you're at the gas station getting gas, make sure you got business cards on you. Do like Papa Tony, always got the purple shirt on, always advertising. Pick up. I think the Chamberlain keypad can do 3. Holy crap. They can do 3. Oof. I do between 5 a month. This month was okay. I wonder what's up with that. I couldn't continue. I can't continue at 5K. Oh, I get that, man. That's tough. I mean, I wonder what's kind of changing the market a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if people obviously are kind of out of their tax money, so that's gone. And then I don't know if the tariffs are scaring people, to some degree. I mean, we got 90-day pause, so the economy can be roaring. I guess take the money and put it in the stock market. Trump said it. 3 doors rich. I know, that's a lot. Charles, just got one of those man companies after they had every other company in the area try to fix these rentals. They couldn't. They don't care about price, but have to get it first. Yeah, it's kind of like ours. That's why it's kind of weird because the property managers like for us they're kind of in between. Like they'll be like the rentals and stuff like that, and it's like they can probably only approve like so much, or they'll be like it's normally for us not really on the spot. It's like they gotta you tell them a price, hey, it's 120 bucks, or it's this or that, it's 400, 800. You need to and they just kind of stall out where it's like we'll get back to you and let you and it's like you know we're kind of here right now, like we could but if we come back and obviously we add a little more on there for it, but it's just like it's like they got to talk to the homeowner, so they don't really have a I don't know what you call it, budget to run off. Exactly. Once you get enough trust with them, they'll approve you on the spot. You won't have to make return trips, which is really nice. Return trips is good because your overhead per month. Management companies is simple and steady work. What staple gun do y'all use? I had the worst luck with them. Currently having was that the shirt on her, but still dry fires on me. Ooh, Milwaukee M12 staple. Gosh, I wish I could remember. Oh, it's this company right here, I think. These are who we use. I think it's the Arrow. Look at that, they're right here. Use these round staples. Dude, these are game changers. We used to always use flat staples. This will like save you from nicking wires right there, the round. We normally carry the 9/16. This one's right here as the 9/16. We focus camera. Can this camera even do that? Not really. 9/16. And then we also have the 3/8. And we use the Arrow brand. And those work pretty good. Those have been the best. I have to have like I used to like the ergonomic ones. Like I bought like the Walt or something. I can't remember who it was. And those things just like fell apart all the time on me. So I got so sick of it. So I went back to the ergonomic with the staple gun, and they just hold up, and they start getting crusty over time if the guys put too much dirt in them or they leave them out in the rain or something. But those things are just bulletproof. They seem to hold up if you drop them. I don't use flat staples anymore. I really try to avoid it because I've had way too many staples nick the wires. So that worked pretty good. Do you have to buy Mucky? Like that, he says. It's going to, he says, Evan, going to bed. Got the night in the morning. I'll send Dave. Good night. Sweet. Thank you, Evan. Have a good night. Not sure if they still make it. Do you have to buy the staples? Run the T50s. Always use crowned staples. I'm assuming Charles is not. I don't think they aren't crowned though. I'm assuming. I don't know why Milwaukee doesn't. Unless they do. Does Milwaukee own staple gun? I don't know if they do. If they do, that'd be nice. That's like $100 stapler. If you have M12 tools already, it's worth it. I got two of the M12 ones. I bought them for doing an installation job, and boy, they work nice. But I like the crown ones. I just trust myself. Charge the once a month. Yeah, they run a long time on those. And check it out. Thanks, Charles says it shoots like 1,000 staplers. Yeah, it doesn't use much. The battery one works great. It really does. It's already. Oh, so you're okay. So you just already have the batteries. Dave, I'm top storage unit spring placer in the area. 754, 2 springs. We have 3 different companies who use us. Oh gosh, yeah, our storage unit places. There's no, we wouldn't even come close. We didn't come close. We used to have a guy that we charged what, I forget the time. We were at $85 And I mean, that was like the top of the limit for that guy. You know what I mean? Like, and then when the new company bought him, they got their own whatever maintenance people. You know what I mean? And then even the 2 or 3 storage units I used to work for, they would actually buy their own springs, which was always weird because they'd always thinking you'd be like, this spring's like 2 inches shorter. Like, is it really? I got it wrong that last order. And you're like, we have a storage unit with some really damn barrel doors. It says just have agreement with us to replace the door if they have to call us. My bad, yeah. That'd be cool. Just replace them. Even a simple problem, he says. They've been pretty reasonable for a storage unit place. Heck yeah, I'd agree. I pound every staple by hand. Dude, what do you use? Where do you buy all staples? Just buying the white ones or whatever? Wires are way tighter, he says. Never pinch them. That's true. Got Jeep guy, take care, get the book. What is this book? Who Stole My Cheese? Is this one, Richard? I'm gonna see if I can screenshot this so I can see. Look that up. That's even, what is that? I lose my mind pounding staples by hand. Has bonfire like a nail gun. Never had a problem. Wow. The cat's meow. Yeah, I normally, like for these staples, then I buy the Arrow brand because it's just the only stapler I've had that's held up. And the guys use them too because we were just. I think I bought the DeWalt. DeWalt had one. It's really nice, man. It's smooth because it's just the way you're clicking. But I get down to a rhythm where it's like I'll do my curly, pigtail or curly cue on the photo eye, and you got to be gentle. And I just start slamming a couple staples in there, and you'll get a couple if you nail them in on an angle a bit. They'll be tight enough that you can start stretching it, and you don't go crazy, And you got to pay attention. It's just a muscle memory, and you start looking at your wire, make sure you're not yanking it out, and it's just bam, bam, bam. And then you get up to the top. Obviously, you can make your corner. That's where you can kind of make some adjustments or something up. And they work really good. I've just when I've used flat staplers over the years, maybe 1 out of 20, that'd be the one. And it never fails to be like a hot summer day or a Friday at 5 o'clock, and you're, you know how it goes. Like you're like, why is this darn thing, or the one thing I noticed too with those crown ones, at least with the Arrow one, it has 2 nubs on it, and I can feel the nub. So like I can feel it catching in the wire, and I know I'm in between where I need to be, and it'll land it. Where the flat ones don't have, it's just more of that piece of metal. And man, I can't tell. I've shot a nail or shot a staple between, or you went through the wire, and oh man, isn't that the worst feeling? You're like mother fudgers, and it's you gotta splice the wire and you gotta put a little crimper in there and gel connect it and all this other jazz. And it's just like it costs you 15 minutes or 20 sometimes even. And so to have the reassurance of just using that, and when I used to hand bang, man, I'd smash my finger all the time with a hammer, or I'd have to use like little pliers or Leatherman to pinch on it to get it started, and then go at it, go to town with it. I've done way too much. It's kind of like like I said, I just don't think I can get on board too with the hand banging for trail. It's just not my style. I was just at my mom's, and she's got white trim. I don't know what they used, but all the nail heads. Now, obviously, it's been on there for. How long has it been on there? God, it's probably been on there for 20 some years or whatever. But it's they're all the heads are rusted, and I was just like, obviously, those aren't really good stainless steel. Whatever those were, aluminum. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they're white at one time. They look like the right ones, but like, man, those things are all rusted bad. Like, and they're because they're hand banged in. It's like they're just like rust, 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 rust. And I'm like, jeez, that's horrible. If she knew a garage door guy, maybe he'd fix that for her. Charles says, yeah, the M12 stapler uses Arrow. It says half the T50s. Staple used to come in 100. He says no. 100 count, and something changed. Oh, they jam my. Oh, they jam my stapler. What's this? I could be a Milwaukee rep. The way I vouch for that thing, he says it's going to grave with those staplers. Hey, and and Charles, by the way, I left one out in the rain for about a week. A couple good rainstorms, and that darn thing I wrote on it wet, so I knew if it failed because I had two of them. And that darn thing never missed a beat. And I tell you what, putting up insulation up in a crawl space and stuff, they really do. And I remember when I bought it too, I was like, well, maybe I need to get a little bit bigger battery. And he's like, they don't use much energy and or much electricity. And I said, okay. So I used, and we used a snot on, and they work really good. They do. But like I said, I just can't just, I don't know. I just feel like I could get a little bit too sloppy with it. I might hit that wire and cause some damage. Up to 9/16, which is nice because we use more or less like the 9/16 is what we use for like our commercial wire. So that works a little good, a little taller. And then the 3/8 we use for like all the residential light stuff. Can run up to Charles Scott says, dude, invincible. It's been dropped off scissor lift and all sorts. She says, never jams, never fails. Yeah, no, I can't think of anything ever going wrong with mine, ever jamming or anything. I've had mine for, I think, how long have I had mine? Probably about 4 years now, roughly. And no, we're good. Those ones I can't complain. They've been good. Hammer will last longer, Rusty. Dude, like I said, when I was sitting there swinging against by that garage door, I was just like, Caleb was inside working, and I was like, dude, can you hurry up so I can raise the garage door? I'm so nervous right now. I'm going to smack this garage door and scratch it. And I thought, man, I just fly with my trim nailer, bam, bam, bam. And I feel like I do a better job. I don't know why. I feel like I massage it better. And I don't know. There was just something about it. I said, nope. He says, Omega with the times. Charles, I know trim by 8. Too old are you? 39. He says, I do that too. Nail guns don't hold. He says, I'm 24. Dude, you guys, you just got to put more nails in it. I never have any problem with trim anymore. Except for when I used to put it on too tight. You know how it is. Like you get that one little spot where it's got the little belly and you're like, push it up and it'll stay. No. You need to take that down, trim that down just so it fits in there perfect. Then I know I have no problem. I use a trim nailer all the time. Never have a problem. Other than me around here who hand nails trim. 15 gauge, so I use a 16 gauge. I thought about doing 50, but it looked a little hefty. And I haven't had no reason. I mean, I'm eventually, once I get down to my last 18 volt DeWalt, but I've seen a couple online. And they got my attention. They were really good condition. They're for it's $200 for some old 18 volts. And I was like, that seems quite a bit, for an old 18 volt. But I thought, man, those are diehards. They work really good. But man, I tell you, I just, it. I mean, this is a really good conversation. I mean, but it's like, Charles, it's like, could you imagine handing, the photo eye wires? I mean, that's like, man, it's like when you go to that trim nailer, to me, it's like, that's what it's like. It's like having hand banging photo eye wires. Forget that. That's just no thanks. You know what I mean? Like speed is key. I mean, I get paid by the job. I want to get in and out as fast as I can. And when I was out there on my knees in the grass, sitting there with those nails, tap, 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 tap. Oh, that one went too far. Son of a, pull that one out. Yep. Tap, tap, tap. Then I got nails. I'm sitting there sticking nails in my mouth, and I peel them out. Oh, that's facing the wrong way. That's the head. Okay. Tap, 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 tap. And I know Caleb, he needed something, so okay, stop, then a nail flung out, I'm like, oh crap, man, where'd the nail go? Like, I don't want that in the yard, you know, like, I don't want to look like a slob, you know, so I'm like, where'd that nail go? Oh, there it is, you know, pick it up, tap, 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 you know, then I'm like sitting there thinking, which I think this company did the right thing, but always like when you cut your trim, it's like, do you 50-50 it? Or do you just nip it off the one side and one's gonna have a nail closer? So I'm like, do I fit? I'm like, I'm not screwing with that. So I pulled it, but then I realized like both recessed in, like they did that deliberately, or it could have just been on the run when they cut it. But I was like, and then when I got to the bottom, it was like, you know, like I never like having another nail a little closer to the bottom. It wasn't too far. It was really good actually, but I was like, is that equal other side? You know, like I was like, I feel like I'm overthinking this. Like, you know, like, and then when I was like, I think in the video you guys will see eventually come out, I touched it and it flaked off, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, now it shows silver on brown. I'm like, God darn it. And I know I don't have the best quality nails, but they're just what I had. They're aluminum brown. And then one nail, of course, right? I get to like one last, I hit it just wrong and it bent head over a little bit. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, I'll just bang that out. It'll smooth out, right? It is smooth out. And I'm like, that kind of looks like crap. I'm like, oh, I'm like, these are things I don't want to have to think about. Excuse me. What's this? What's it got here? Oh, shooting says 15 nails might work. I've been out of 15 gauge nails for my trim, so I hand nail all last week. Oh my gosh. What gauge nails are you shooting in the seal? Like I said, I use 16. I use 16 gauge. Shoulder trim. Always use coated screws so they don't rust. Holy cow, Richard's using screws, man. Big bucks, big bucks. Definitely complain about it all week. Oh man, bet. Builds arm strength. Builds arm strength. Rusty, do you buy color finish nails? Seal. I got a little fancy with mine. White nails, black nails, etc. Rusty, I got a shirt winder to save my shoulder. And then I'm overhead nailing a 16-foot piece of trim. That's true. That's true, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like I said, I'm a little bit of a cream puff on it because I was doing the same thing. I'm sitting there and I'm like, I even switched hands and I'm like, and I was like, this ain't gonna work. I was like, hit the stinking garage door. And I was like, back to this hand, suck it up, Dave. Suck it up. You only got 5 more to go. I'm like, where's trim nailer? Every color plus wood grain. Order my doors. Order colored match. Caulking. Ooh, quit. How old are you? 32. Someone else who knows. My coworkers are all nail gun use. Charles, do you guys caulk trim too? Do y'all use nails or staples for wood door seal? Ooh, boy. I would say if it was me, I'd probably use nails, but I know where you're going with that. I can see, but we really don't do a lot of wood. Don't usually caulk trim unless I have a customer who I know will bitch about it. There you go. Rusty, I got high-end trim install coming, and not sure. Really, problem was I have, was that waffle face hammers? So I have to be careful with the trim. Ooh, I get that. I get that. It makes sense. But I saw a lot of brush seal. Don't use waffle face hammer. Then he says, come on. That's right. That's why I use a 15 gauge. So Jed, you like that 15 gauge? What are you using? What model are you using? You use like a DeWalt, Milwaukee? What power tool are you using for that? Brush seal with a cedar. Aluminum retainer is the best. Look for resi seal by far. Oh. Takes a while to put on though. Why brush seal over traditional vinyl seal? Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like Charles, like I feel like if you ever come across brush seal, if you're able to ever take a picture and either email me at the Dave A. Dubson, I really put it in most of my videos, the Dave A. Dubson at gmail.com to do that. Otherwise, I can always give my phone number too. But I'd like to kind of see that. I'm kind of curious about that because I really don't think I know what that is or what it looks like. M18 Milwaukee. Jets is a Milwaukee been working good. Like I'm nervous to go back to a Milwaukee. I got the framing, the framing nailer, and man, that thing's been kind of problematic. I feel like I want to stay with the DeWalt, that centrifugal clutch thing that they use. That seems like it's more consistent. 16 says looks nicer, seals a bit better. The head is just bigger and it holds better than a 16. Oh yeah, I'm sure. When I looked at it at the store and I kind of looked at the nails, I was like, these might be a little bit on the big side. Even though I would agree when I do 16, it always feels like it's on the edge of, you got to really watch your penetration on the seal. I try to fire them on an angle a little bit so I know it's, not directly down, going to pop off, just depending on, how warm it is, how the gun's firing. It's more expensive. I'll use brush seal for roll-up doors. True. I have a video. Ridge, he says I installed the brush seal somewhere. Huh. That's interesting. Brush seal. Yeah, brush seal feels like it. I don't know. I'm kind of rusty. It's kind of interesting. Like I don't know. I don't know about it. I don't know how I feel about it. I've done it on roll-up doors too, so I don't know. Good. No ramp up, just depress and fire. Huh. Jets, how long have you had your Milwaukee nailer? I'm just kind of curious. Cause I don't know, mine had a fair a while back. And so I'm just curious how long you've had yours too. Ramp up, look for the video to post your email here. If you want to post your email, just 3 years. Let me see do I post it here? Can't start a poll. 3+ years. Oh yeah, so you had some things on. Charles, I'm gonna find something here. Oh, I ain't got my normal. Oh, where is a sticky? There's no sticky. This is just unacceptable. No sticky. Oh, there's got to be something around here. Make sure this is not something that's going to be a problem. What does it do? April says complete. I don't know what this is. One day I'll just get like some cards or something that's made. One day. I want that one. Let's see if we got skis on there. No. Looks like they got some let me pull this because obviously can't stay on there for too much longer. There it is. All the camera's on. It looks like there's some roll-up springs right there. Some storage unit ones. Yay. What was I going to find? I was going to find that sticky. Do the naughty. Steal my printer. Don't tell my wife. She'll have a heyday with me. There's that. Some says Dave A. Dobson at gmail.com. See if that works. There, you can take a screenshot of that. I don't know if that works. It's just a Dave A. Dobson, D-U-B-S-O-N at gmail.com. Dave A. Dobson at gmail.com. I don't think they had this live because we got cut off another one. Oh, I thought there was. Wait, alright, seal. You'd even do seal. What does it say? You post your email. I made a picture of how I do it on Raise right now. It's backwards. Why you gotta be like that? What am I supposed to do? Put it upside down? Rich has to be the one that posted like that. Rich, I thought you went to bed. What am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do here. Oh, here, I'm back. Do it this way, right? Watch this, right? We can do it this way. There's this better. Can you see that? Can you see that, Rich B? Is that better? Come on, man. Just Dave A. Dobson at gmail.com. Does that work? We all good? We all happy? Rich has to be the... Oh, man. It's all good, man. You know I love you, Rich B. I love you, man. It's just backwards. Freaking midnight. It's almost 1. Give me that kind of crap. Come on, man. About ready to mop the floors around this place. All right, guys. It's time to go. We need to go to bed. We got to work. We got to go make baby money. Tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow's Monday. Hope everybody has a Monday. I'm going to head out. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you got anything, hit me up on the back email. Otherwise, make sure you keep your fingers. See you guys later. Thanks, Peter. Night, Dave. Monday is my favorite day. Make the money. Just sent the email. Take a look. Will do. If I don't get back to you, obviously, yet today, I'll try to tomorrow. Good stuff. Otherwise, I'm over and out. See you guys. Thanks for being here. Rich B. Mustard man.